program make this the summer event, based on standard and available features offered.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular's single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryant.com.
That's GotBryant.com.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics at soundedouttogether.org. Brought to you by Pivotal Ventures.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Gorgeous afternoon out there. Some cloud cover from time to time, but nice and cool. A high of 82 and the humidity remains low. It'll be a cool night tonight, partly cloudy, down to 59, and a little warmer tomorrow. A high of 85. The humidity stays on the lower side, but we'll see a bigger jump in the heat and humidity into the upper 80s on Sunday and a bit more sticky.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 353 points to 41,066. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
O'Connell with 1 second, left wing three on the way, banks it in! He got it! I don't believe it!
Jeremy Baxell has Roberts on him into the paint, rises up, big time!
Young throws, he's got Tommy, near side 2-1, touchdown Carolina!
To Ryan, catch and shoot three, right wing, he did it again! Ryan has 27!
Anderson makes a save, and it's kept out by Martin! What a save! Martin just robbed
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Happy Friday to you. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. Mack Brown, head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels football team, going into, I believe, his age 73 season. Birthday sneaking up on us.
Hey, Tuesday, if I remember correctly, is his birthday.
Happy early birthday to Coach Brown.
All of the cake.
It appears as if he might be falling into one of those traps that might have been talked about for about as long as he's been in football, the last 50 years. And that's not an exaggeration, right? The trap that's always talked about is if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. Mack Brown spoke to the media today. It was kind of his preseason, end of preseason, start of the season, game day press conference. Now 6 days away from their opener at Minnesota, and he let the public know that he plans on playing 2 quarterbacks.
Depending on how the game goes, we would like to play 2 quarterbacks, and we'd like to do it for the season. And the offensive staff has done a really good job. Connor and Max are different. They're the same in some ways, but they're different in others. And the offensive staff has done a really good job of blending the line with what both of them do best. So I feel really good going into the game about the plan for both of those, because they've tailored it to where the quarterback that's in the game will have things that he can do best without question. But I do see scenarios where both play.
I'm going to get ahead of this a little bit and say I don't believe him. I think he is still potentially playing mind games with Minnesota you're not going to give us a depth chart. We're going to try to throw every different kind of brain teaser at you. Okay, so I'm put me on the record as saying I think at the latest week 2 they're going to have a quarterback, even though he just said he wants to play 2 throughout the entire season.
You think it was a workaround saying, or we want to, as in, hey, we want to be up by 21 points in the fourth quarter, and we're going to put the second guy in there. That's what we want to have happen, right?
If he were under oath, then the want would be the word there. He's like, I think if the court reporter would read back my comments, you would see I did not perjure myself.
See?
If he follows through on it, the spirit of what he said, not the legal proceedings. If he's actually saying he wants to play both of these guys at quarterback in every game this season, I can't emphasize this enough. I hate that decision. If you can win with both, pick one. Or else you're doing a disservice to both. Quarterback is a rhythm position, right? You get into a rhythm by being in the game, going out there every drive. It's also a confidence position. More importantly, it's a confidence position. And what I mean by that is it only takes a millisecond. My coaches used to call it a beat because it was something significantly less than like even half or a quarter of a second. You got to take a beat, right? Oh, you were a beat late. It's a blink. It's a snap of your fingers. That's the hesitation that is the difference between fitting it into a small window, big play, and the ball getting tipped, potentially intercepted, definitely incomplete. And the hesitation can come from, if I throw an interception, they're going to give him the next drive. So, can't throw it. Just that little, I got to be a little bit extra careful. Now you're making mistakes. And even if they're the coolest guys in the world, if Connor Harrell and Max Johnson are just the best of friends, if they are so cool with each other, they root for each other's success, they both want to be on the field. I don't know if people recognize this. Just to choose to be a quarterback, you have an ego. There are certain parts of sports that you almost need an ego. Think about it. Even like if you started in third grade playing football, coach said, what position do you play? You raise your hand and say, I play the position that touches the ball every single play and has the entire game on my shoulders. That takes a lot of like, hey, I think pretty highly of myself as an athlete. No one wants to say it, right? Always team first, team always, team only. But no, that's what they do. It's what the position is. Mess with their confidence by saying, we like you, but we like him as much. That's not how it works. And then the last part of it, and this is where I think you get in trouble. You can't play quarterback harder, right? It's why quarterback is different. I think it's fine to rotate running backs. I think it's fine to rotate linebackers. I think it's fine to rotate just about any other position on the field if you think you have two guys that are very good because it'll keep them fresh. And if they get frustrated with their playing time, they go out there, they can use that anger to play harder. If you're a running back and you think you should be getting 20 carries, but you're getting 10 in a timeshare, well, guess what? When you get that ball, you're going to lower the boom on somebody because you can do that harder. Linebackers. If you're a linebacker, you're on the field, and you're upset you're not out there more, somebody's getting their head taken off. Mm-hmm. Quarterback. You go out there, you're upset you're only getting every other series, or you're upset that they just gave the 2-minute drill to the other guy, or you're upset that you drove them from your own 20 down to the 4, and then they put in the other quarterback for a running play, and he gets the touchdown. You're mad about that. You go out there, you want to play harder. There's nothing. You can't. It doesn't make you better to be angry as a quarterback. Can make you better just about any other position. Quarterback, you're out there, you're tense, you're Now you're just seeing red and not seeing the field. Quarterback is a different position, right? It's sometimes it's tough for coaches to see that because they put these absolutes together. Competition is good for everyone. Iron sharpens iron. We want competition at every position, right? They get it stenciled onto the wall of the weight room. Right next to be the hammer, not the nail, or what, right? Right.
I love that one.
Right next to 1% better every day, right? And then it's competition makes everyone better. Yes, I get it. And it's true to an extent at quarterback. But in a game, they need confidence. They need ego. They need to be able to play free. And they need to be calm. here's what I'll say. Very rarely through sports history has this worked. The few times it has, it's been like a wildcat situation, right? I don't think that's what, like, if you had a quarterback that was a bad passer, that wouldn't throw the ball, and you put him in and ran the old Ricky Williams, Ronnie Brown Dolphins playbook, or it was, I remember Darren McFadden getting a lot of direct snaps at Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just putting in like a running back for short, that's fine. A quarterback can understand that.
That's a trick play.
Yeah, you're on the sideline going, yeah, this is circus stuff. This isn't them saying I'm not the best quarterback for this job. They're saying we don't want a quarterback on the field for this play. The problem with Connor Harrell in that situation is if you put him in as the running quarterback, he's too good of a passer. Chip Lindsey's going to go, hey, every time we put him out there, they know we're going to run the ball. Let's chuck one deep. Before you know it, you have Max Johnson in there running the offense. You have Connor Harrell in there running the offense. They're both just running the offense. I do not like this one bit for UNC, unless my earlier hypothesis is correct and Mack Brown isn't actually all bought in on this. He's just making Minnesota think about something.
Might be.
Because without naming a starter, at least going into the first series, Minnesota is going to be like, who's it going to be? Which guy is it going to be? Now that he said we want to play them both, you might get the rest of the game then going, when are they going to put in the other guy? Mm-hmm. We need to stay ready for the other guy. We either need to stay ready for the runner or need to stay better for the pocket passer.
I said this yesterday when I was filling in for Adam Gold. I said, whomever they choose, I hope they're successful from the get-go, because the last thing they need to do is have constant questions of, well, what about the other guy?
Yes.
What about the other guy?
Exactly. And even when you're, like, honestly, if the guy that's on the bench has those questions, I hate to say it, you can't do that much damage to the team when you're not in the game. It's the one that's on the field you want to not have questions. And if they're having questions like, if we don't score on this drive, am I going to come back in the game? Oh, I need to make a big play, or else they're going to put him in. And you also don't want to come in like super scripted. You're going to get the first series, you're going to get the second series, you're going to get the second quarter, you're going to get the third quarter, because then you get a hot hand situation and you're like, well, never mind. Now people are crushed. Quarterback is different. I can only say it in so many ways. It's not like, hey, we're going to rotate in defensive ends because we have two guys we like. It's different. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to talk about those comments throughout the day. Mack Brown also dropped a few other haymakers in his press conference, so we'll have that audio throughout the show. But when we come back, we have to finish out our 99 questions about the college football season series. We started it when there were 99 days before college football's opening kickoff. That opening kickoff is tomorrow. We ask our final question coming up next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
We haven't seen the best version of either Andy Reid or the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm just sitting there thinking about the team that they're marching out with this year. We know they have an all-world defense, and now their offense has more weaponry for Mahomes to work with than the past couple of years. This iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs will be the best version of them that we've seen over the last 3 years.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities. Just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling. Better with Pepsi.
Swing by your local family fair where you can get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for just $4. Family Fair, first in Thirst.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm sure there's some of you out there waiting for this. We have our Fan Football Flyaway keyword for the 3 o'clock hour. Fan Football Flyaway, sponsored by the fabulous Mandalay Bay Hotel, Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb & Company. This hour's word is retreat. R-E-T-R-E-A-T. Retreat. Have to be very careful. I have nightmares about spelling it wrong, and then we get
wait a second.
Get a whole bunch of people that are very upset they didn't get their entry. And you should be very upset if you don't get your entry. Because once you text retreat to 919-860-5326, you will be entered for a chance to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas.
Nice.
Where you'll get to see Carolina play football against the Silver and Black. We're talking flights. We're talking room. We're talking some cash for food. The whole shebang for an awesome trip for you and a friend, you and a significant other, you and a buddy, you and a coworker, you and a kid, you and a parent to go to Vegas. Again, the word for this hour, it expires at 4, so you need to text it in before 4 o'clock. The word is retreat, R-E-T-R-E-A-T, retreat. Text in just that word to 919-860-5326 for this hour's entry, and then listen in during the 4 o'clock hour between 4 and 5. We'll give you another keyword, and that keyword will once again, if you text it in during that hour, be worth another entry. So again, this hour's word is retreat. The number to text in is 919-860-5326, and listen in for another keyword coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Now let's get into our final question about the college football season.
One last one, huh?
99 questions about the college football season all come down to this. In a world where you've been asking questions about the college football season for well over 3 months, you have one question left to ask. Who's going to win the ACC? Who's playing for the ACC championship? Who's winning the ACC championship? Both Dennis and I will give our picks because tomorrow 3 ACC schools are going to be in action. So you have to get your predictions in, receipts printed prior to that game.
I'm going to give a real bold prediction already. One ACC team at least will win tomorrow, and at least one will lose tomorrow.
I see what you did there.
Nailed it.
It's like when Clemson plays LSU and you bet on the Tigers.
Yep.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it's Georgia Tech and Florida State from Ireland, which you can hear right here on 99.9 The Fan.
Kick off at noon.
Later on in the day, SMU will also play. That's
all right here in The Fan.
That's an ACC school. So 3 ACC teams getting started.
So weird to think still. SMU. Let's go ACC.
Let's go ACC. The fertile ACC grounds of Texas. Betting favorites to win the ACC this year. I'll give you some background. Florida State, Clemson, Miami, in that order, according to sportsbooks. So if you're betting, those are the favorites: Florida State, Clemson, Miami. When it comes to the triangle teams, if you're interested in local teams, NC State is 4th, so right behind those 3 I just mentioned. UNC is 8th. Duke is 13th when it comes to betting odds in the sportsbooks. Wake Forest, after that, we don't have to get into details. I'll talk you through my pick, and then, Dennis, you can get to yours. It is wide open. I really think this year in the ACC, wide open. We talked about how many teams received first-place votes in the preseason media poll for the ACC standings. It's 5 or 6. Actually, I think it's 7, but 5 legitimate ones because there were a couple throwaways. Here's the thing, though. There's a big flaw with every team. Florida State, I'm not trusting DJ Uiagalelei until I see it.
A lot of new pieces there.
Clemson, no transfers, which seems like they're just passing up on talent that everyone else in the conference is accepting. Miami never lives up to the hype.
Nope.
NC State hasn't won 10 games under Dave Doran. Hasn't won 10 games in the last 21 years.
It's been a minute for them.
SMU, step up in competition into the Power 5.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how that's going to go. Louisville, the passing game is a little worrisome, and a whole bunch of new transfers. I could go on and I could go through the entire ACC, and there's like one big, but
UNC, who's their quarterback?
Who's
like
your
all
quarterback?
Your skill guys are back.
Can you get after the quarterback? That did you in a lot last year. So what you're kind of doing when you pick who you think is going to win the ACC, or when you pick who you think is going to play in the ACC, is you're picking your favorite flaws. You're picking the ones that you don't think matter as much, that you're most okay with, or that the rest of these teams can most overcome. I've gone back and forth on this a bunch of times. But on the eve of the ACC kind of debut, week 0, 3 teams playing, my ACC championship game is Florida State versus NC State.
Really? Okay.
With the acknowledgement that I'm not super high on DJ Uiagalelei, but their running game is going to be something serious up there. And I think if they learn early enough that DJ Uiagalelei is not the next Jordan Travis, I think they can work on hiding him. I think they can kind of make his job easier by leaning on the defense and leaning on the running game, and they're talented enough to win a majority of their ACC games kind of on that path. NC State is my other team in the final. And, I'm actually – I wonder if Dave Doran's even happy that I made that choice. Or if he's going, another media person hyping us up.
But we'll get to the audio at some point later. He doesn't like preseason polls and rankings.
Well, actually, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and play it right now?
Let me pull it up.
All right, there we go. NC State has some hype that they haven't had in a very long time. Actually, going back a few years, but they didn't live up to it. With the Devin Leary year, we have the audio. Here's Dave Doran.
You guys know me well enough to know that I'm not going to base the strength of our schedule on where we're ranked in the preseason or where they're ranked. We'll see. When we get to these teams at the end of the year, and when we get to the end of the year, that's where you're going to find out how good they are. I wish they'd get rid of preseason rankings, personally, and start ranking teams midway through the year when they've earned who they are. I know that wouldn't be good for you guys because you'd have nothing to talk about probably, but I mean, it's a lot of false stuff.
Yeah, Dave, if you're willing to come on the show once a week to give us something to talk about, then we'll do away with ratings. Just give us something spicy once a week, and that'll fill the time. I kind of agree with him. It's just never going to happen because it's an entertainment product and you need fans involved.
And it's been around for decades.
But I get what he's saying. I think Clemson in all the preseason polls is only ahead of NC State because they're Clemson.
Yeah, the name on the helmet.
Yeah, I think if you were to switch the players, if you took NC State's team, put them on Clemson, particularly the offense, and vice versa, I think Clemson is probably a little bit higher than they are right now, which is why I'm putting NC State above Clemson, above Miami, above these teams in the ACC championship game. Now, the question we asked on our final 99 questions about the college football season was not just who's going to play in the championship, it's who's going to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm being a homer to the Triangle team here. I'm taking State.
Really? Okay.
I'm taking NC State, and here's why. It's got some kind of a proverb. I'm leaning hard on the cliches today. It's some kind of a proverb. To get something you've never gotten, you have to do something you've never done. So I'm acknowledging Dave Doran has never won 10 games. He's never won an ACC championship. But it also seems like this offseason he did a lot of things he's never done before. So I think it's fair to expect a result that he's never gotten before. Right? It's kind of the reverse, or the extenuation of that proverb. NC State is known for not winning the offseason, right? They're the team that takes the recruits that aren't as highly ranked as other teams and then takes pride into developing them better and beating the teams that had the higher recruiting rankings. That's what they're known as, right? They don't necessarily win the offseason. They take pride in, even if we don't win the offseason, we're going to find a way to have success during the season. This year, they won the offseason. They won the portal. They went out and spent the money, brought in the big names. They got the guys from Ohio State and Notre Dame. They got the ACC stud in Jordan Waters. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the portal. They won the offseason. So I think it's finally time to maybe expect for them to get what they've never gotten, because this offseason they've done what they've never done. And I have no idea if all of my past tenses were proper there.
We'll go with it.
Sounded good in my head, and I'm rolling with it on a Friday.
By the way, Forest City Kitty on our YouTube live stream says Clemson is taking back the ACC.
Second betting favorite.
I have to say, for my prediction, I have a three-way tie for first in the ACC in the regular season.
Okay.
I have one loss NC State, one loss Clemson, and one loss Florida State. Based off tiebreaker, because I think Clemson beats NC State. That's their only conference loss.
Okay, that's week 4.
Clemson loses to Florida State in the regular season, so Florida State has that head-to-head win. And then Florida State drops one to Miami. But I think Miami also loses to like Virginia Tech and Louisville.
Okay.
So they're not in it.
I like
so
the
three-way tie based off head-to-head. Unfortunately, NC State gets left out. Clemson lost the regular season game. Clemson takes the rematch, wins the ACC title.
So you and, what was it, Florida City Kitty are on the
Forest City Kitty, yes. Apparently we're on the same wavelength.
You guys are on the same
wavelength.
wavelength.
But I think it's a three-way tie for first in the league. NC State's the odd team out.
I will say I was all the way out on Clemson until we talked with and interacted with Klubnik at ACC Kickoff, and I went, oh, he's got that thing, doesn't he? He's got the poise, the whatever it is.
Yeah.
He just seems to be very comfortable. So I'm not as far out on Clemson. I still don't think they make the ACC championship, obviously, but I don't hate the pick. So there you go. If you want to get your predictions into us.
It's crazy to think that NC State could go 11-1 and not make the ACC championship game.
Yeah,
it's possible.
You just heard a bunch of State fans go, and that's what's going to happen too.
We're finally going to get double-digit wins, and now we're can't even make the ACC championship.
You might get a nice consolation prize if you go 11-1 and don't make the ACC championship game, and that might be a trip to the college football playoff without having to play another game and potentially look bad or get hurt or whatever.
It's possible.
Consolation prize. I know you want that conference championship, though. Don't get me wrong. Speaking of the Pack, by the way, Pack Therapy, the podcast episode out this morning. Myself, former NC State great quarterback Mike Glennon on the pod talking about expectations for the season. If you check it out on our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan. Also, if you are a regular listener of Pack Therapy, next week's episode, we're going to be answering questions from you, but you have to ask them on our YouTube. So go YouTube 99.9 The Fan, find the Pack Therapy video. If you comment there with a question, there's a good chance Mike and or both of us will answer those questions for you next episode. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Go to their Village District location in Raleigh, Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and what you're going to see is a paradise for watch lovers, for timepiece fans, right? There's going to be the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. If you haven't been there and you're into watches or you think you might want to get into watches, Fox and Bailey Watch Shop is a great place to start. Go into Bailey's Fine Jewelry all the way to the right. They'll have a timepiece employee in there that can explain everything to you. If you're already in deep in the watch world, you know about the Omega display, the Omega Boutique, which is on the left side of the shop. It's the second largest of its kind. Some of the most iconic watches in the world can be found in there. But everyone probably needs to be introduced to the Blancpain display and the Glashütte Original Watch Company displays. They are in the main showroom. These are two of the cooler brands making watches today. Blancpain is the oldest active making watch company in the world. It's a Swiss watch brand with just ultimate class and also awesome dive watches. Glashütte Original is a more recent brand created in the 90s, but they immediately jump to the top when it comes to some of the accuracy measurements, the classy feel of a wristwatch. So if you are aware of Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, if you're aware of the Omega Boutique, there's still probably something new for you at the Bailey's Fine Jewelry Village District location in Raleigh for all my watch fans out there. Just make sure they know you heard about it here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly when you're in there checking it out. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Joel Bryant, senior football and recruiting editor for HighSchoolOT, gives us a look ahead at the high school season that starts today on the football gridirons across the state. Stick around.
Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb & Company want you to see football live in Las Vegas. It's our Fan Football Flyaway. Listen weekdays through August 29th. We'll reveal keywords every hour from noon to 6. Text in the keywords to enter for chances to win a trip for two to Las Vegas. We'll fly you to an amazing room at the Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino, and we'll hook you up with seats for the Carolina-Las Vegas game. The Fan Football Flyaway, only on 99.9 The Fan. Viva Las Vegas.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
How was everyone's first day at the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club?
Oh, me? I set the high score in mini golf.
I tried a new food called wasabi.
Oh, I did absolutely nothing. It was amazing.
There's no wrong way to be a winner. New $50,000 payout and $1 million cash word are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.54 to 3.58. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
That's a deal, yeah. I got McDonald's money. I got McDonald's money. One meal just to make me feel better. All I wanna know is, can I get up? Juicy double patty, the McNuggets so crisp, and the fries go to yellow. Yeah, McDonald's don't miss. Yeah, order app or the drive-through quick. Yeah, $5. That's a deal, yeah. I got McDonald's money. I got McDonald's money.
Navy Federal Credit Union is back with more eligibility. Now you can hear all your favorites like, my brother's a veteran, I get amazing rates. My mom served, I get 24/7 member support. Grandpa was a soldier and now I'm a member. And who could forget, thanks to my father who served in the military, I'm now eligible for incredible member benefits. Call 1-855-800-2102 or visit NavyFederal.org today. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
We're seeing an increase in the homeless population in our community, and the Salvation Army could use your help. The Army operates the largest family shelter in Wake County, as well as a nightly drop-in shelter. It's at capacity and in need of supplies. You can help those in need in our community by dropping off cleaning supplies like bleach, Windex, sponges, laundry detergent, and paper towels. It's the generosity of neighbors that can make a difference for those struggling with homelessness. Donations can be made at the Salvation Army Center of Hope, 1863 Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh.
Batter up.
Theater Raleigh presents Bull Durham, a new musical playing Duke University's Reynolds Industries Theater in Durham, September 10th through the 22nd. Based on the classic movie, the film's original screenwriter Ron Shelton has adapted the story for the musical, so you can follow Crash Davis's Durham Bulls story and his romantic love triangle in a new genre. The perfect blend of comedy, drama, and steamy romance. Get your tickets for Bull Durham, a new musical, today. Details and ticket info at theaterraleigh.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Joining us now in the Heister Automotive Group hotline, Joel Bryant, senior football and recruiting editor for HighSchoolOT, which is an appropriate time to have him on because, for the most part, I mean, this is the first high school Friday of the season across the state of North Carolina. Joel, we appreciate you for jumping on the show. I'm big on, hey, I saw that guy before he was famous. I just think it's cool, right, when you hear like somebody saw Cal Ripken in the minors or something like that. Who are the guys kind of across the state or across the triangle 5 years from now when they're stars in college or the pros? We'll be talking about seeing them here in North Carolina high school football.
Yeah, so for the triangle, Southern Durham High School, they have a senior defensive lineman, Isaiah Campbell. He's committed to Clemson. He's a top 40 player in the country. So he's 6'4", 260. He transferred to Southern Durham last year, and he had 16 sacks in his first year there, kind of getting acclimated to everything and whatnot. So this year for his senior season, this could be a 20-sack guy this year. And another guy at South Garner High School, Ekene Oboko. He's a 6'6", 280-pound left tackle. His older brother's at Georgia right now. Ekene, his wingspan, I think, is 87 inches wide. He's a top 20 player in the country in the junior class. He's got offers from everywhere. There's a lot of talent in the triangle, and those two guys, I think, are the guys that stand out the most to me.
Now, this is probably a question that coaches get asked a bunch, but I'm going to kind of flip it towards you. You just talked about Clemson. You talked about Georgia. I know that there's a couple of super studs in the 2026 class at Grimsley. I'm talking like number 1, number 3 players in the country.
Yeah.
Both committed to Tennessee. Were the local teams in the mix, and in the era of recruiting flips happening kind of often, is there still a chance?
Yeah, and I mean, even if they don't flip, there's a chance you can get them back a couple years later, right, with the portal and everything. We've seen that happen at NC State.
Well played.
This offseason, it happened getting Noah Rogers back. But, yeah, the guy you mentioned, Faison Brandon, he's a 5-star quarterback in the junior class, number 1 player in the country according to 24/7 Sports. NC State was his second choice. He committed to Tennessee. He was set to visit NC State for one last time, and I guess he decided on Tennessee. But NC State, I think, was his number 2. He's an outstanding player, 6'4" passer. He's everything you want in a quarterback. He's still got 2 more years to go in high school, so he's entering his junior season now. We'll see what happens with him. And then the other guy I think you referenced is David Sanders. He's a 6'6" offensive tackle in this rising senior class. He's number 3 player in the country in this class, and he just committed to Tennessee actually last weekend. But he wasn't considering it the in-state schools as much as Faison was. But Faison has a teammate at Grimsley, Bryce Davis, who committed to Clemson. He's a 4-star defensive end. He's a top 100 player in the class as well, and his number 2 was Duke, actually. So the Triangle schools, while they might not be getting the top guys, we're seeing them finish 2 and 3, those kind of spots, right? And like I said, with the portal, you never know if they ever decide to leave. Triangle schools could be home again to them.
Joel Bryant, senior football and recruiting editor for HighSchoolOT. Joel, speaking of the Triangle schools, out there at Cary High School, UNC commit Trey Blues playing left tackle, NC State commit Gus Ritchie playing tight end. First of all, how does that end up? I mean, they got to line up next to each other quite a bit, and know, one's wearing Carolina blue, one's going to be wearing red. How?
So it's funny. Gus actually transferred there this offseason, and what's funny about it is Gus actually committed to UNC first, and then he flipped to NC State about 12 days after that. So that was one of those rare, UNC-NC State flips that you see. But Gus is solidly going to NC State. And Gus transferred to Cary this offseason, and like you said, they're going to be playing next to each other. So we're going to see a lot of Gus in line at tight end next to Trey Blue. It's no secret what Cary's going to do this year. The Imps are going to run behind Trey Blue and Gus Ritchie. and you just have to have the guys big enough to stop them. And then if you want to overload that side, they're probably going to run away from them, so that's still an advantage for them. But yeah, so Triangle ACC fans, go out and see Carey this year. UNC committed a tackle, and NC State committed a tight end. That doesn't happen too often. That's going to be really fun to watch them together.
If I'm not mistaken, Peyton Wilson, a guy that worked out pretty well for NC State, was a UNC to NC State flip. So is that good signs for Gus Ritchie?
Yeah, same kind of deal. I think Peyton. I think that one took a little more time than Gus. Gus was a pretty quick flip there. I don't think we've seen anyone as quick as Gus did it. But yeah, Peyton Wilson is legendary for NC State fans for that flip.
Looking at the sophomore class, I have a list in front of me. Quentin Cipher from Millbrook, Marquise Bryant, Rollsville, Amir Brown at Rollsville. These are guys, Jonathan Dillon, Southern Durham, who we've talked about a little bit. They've got the triangle offers already, right? They have UNC State and Duke already, sophomores. How fierce are those recruiting battles going to be, knowing they still have quite a bit of time in high school left?
Yeah, they're going to be very fierce. I'll tell you, that 2026 class, these sophomores, this is the best group I've seen in the triangle in a while, right? We were just talking about Peyton Wilson. That kid you mentioned, Quinn Cipher, he's a 6'4" linebacker at Millbrook. This kid's got offers from everywhere. He got offer from Georgia, I think, a few weeks ago. He reminds us of Peyton Wilson. I don't want to put that kind of burden on a kid, right? But everyone that you talk to that watches him play, that's what it looks like. He's a 6'4" linebacker. He's fast, instinctive. And these other guys, Marquise Bryant and Amir Brown, they're already ranked in the top 100 in the country for their class. And they go to the same school, which is crazy. So the talent is so stacked. And I'm curious to see, how we're talking about how, local schools are coming in second and third to these guys that are a little bit older. I think that our local schools got to jump on these guys. I think that they were kind of on them early. We'll see how that kind of develops as they continue on here. Obviously, there's still 3 more years left of high school, so things can change. But you have to think that local schools being on them fast. That's going to be a good thing when it comes to recruitment.
Joel Bryant, senior football and recruiting editor for High School OT, connecting with us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Just a couple more for you, Joel. Is there an under-the-radar player out there that we should keep an eye on that maybe then our listeners could be, the cool hipsters that say we knew about him before he had the 5-star or the offer from wherever? Is there someone sneaking under the radar you think might pop this year?
Well, I want to shout out a senior at Jordan High School. His name is Omarion Hampton. He's an outstanding running back. He's been to Eastern Michigan, so not a bad place to go, right? But his talent level, if he was just a couple of inches taller, he's about 5'8". We talk about him as a clear power 4 kind of running back. He's rushed for 2,000 yards every season he's been on varsity at Jordan, and I just want to give him a shout out because he didn't get that college attention that I think he probably deserves for his play style just because of his height. But any fans around here that want to see a great running back, go see Omarion Hampton at Jordan High School. Last year you can do it. He's a senior. And he's sure to entertain you.
If the listeners want to follow along, if they want to track all these recruiting stories, where can they follow you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on X or Twitter at Joel Bryant, HSOT. Then all my stuff is on HighSchoolOT.com. Obviously, it's part of the CUC family here, and we keep everything on there. We do recruiting stuff. We cover all sports in high school on HighSchoolOT, and obviously football is going to be kind of another level to it, right? So tonight it's going to be a really big night in HighSchoolOT. We have a live game happening in Fayetteville. We have a post-game show happening at 10:30. And, of course, Football Friday is going to be on your TV at 11:30 tonight. 44 years of Football Friday. It's quite an accomplishment.
Quite an accomplishment. Joel, we appreciate you for taking the time and try to stay on top of everything. I know tonight's going to be crazy for you.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Once again, Joel Bryant, senior football and recruiting editor for High School OT. I just want to clarify a few things. Right, he was speaking kind of quick there, but that's a whole bunch of top recruit in the country, top 40 in the country, top 3 in the country.
Yeah,
committed to Georgia, going to Clemson. And I've lived in a few places where there's very, very good high school football, and a few places where they think they have really, really good football. It's really, really good high school football around here, and take it for granted, or don't take it for granted, is what I meant to say. If you can make it out to a game, make it out to a game.
Honestly, if you have a Friday night free, if you have kids or a family, or even just yourself and a couple friends, go watch some of these games. I had a chance early in my time working here at the Fan doing the play-by-play for the High School OT Game of the Week. I did that for years, so I got a chance to go to a lot of these games. I saw guys like Aleem McNeil in high school as a junior who's now playing for the Detroit Lions.
Making
It was
a
a
whole
third-round
bunch of
pick.
money.
Peyton Wilson, a bunch of these other guys that we see in the NFL now, like Dexter Lawrence. Like you get a chance to see these guys, and it's also just a lot of fun just to go be part of your community on a Friday night.
Yep, and
100% support it.
The what I like to do is go with people and say, like, someone on this field is a top 40 recruit in the country. Let's see if you can. Let's see how quickly you can find them.
I remember seeing Noah Rogers at Rollsville, and I was like, "This dude's." It's like, "Oh, he's going to Ohio State. Oh, okay."
As a wide receiver,
that makes sense.
Yep, exactly. That probably didn't take you very long.
No, it did not. It was about one play.
Again, High School OT is where you can find all the coverage from Joel and a whole bunch of other guys and ladies that do a lot of work for us here. Like he said, we're all part of the Capital Broadcasting Company family, and they do a great job.
And then, like you said, Football Friday, WRAL 11:30. Chris Lee, WRAL TV hosts it. If you want to watch just like all the highlights and everything, definitely go watch High School OT or Football Friday.
Tonight about 11:30. With that being said, let's transition to some Panthers. Jaycee Horn. I want to take Jaycee Horn out of the sequestered corner that I and many fans have put him in, because there's so many questions about this roster, about the Panthers roster, the quarterback, the offense, the offensive line, the wide receiver hierarchy, Jonathan Brooks. Like, there's the defense. I didn't even get there yet. So many questions. We kind of just put Jaycee Horn off to the side and go, he's really good. He just needs to stay healthy. Boom. That's all we got. You just put him in the corner, and then you can move on to bigger problems, right? This year is a big year for Jaycee Horn, and there is more conversation that should be happening about him, not just because he's very talented, but because the team has to make a decision on him. They already picked up his 5th-year option. He's going into his 4th year, so they have 2 more years of control. But as we've seen with Brian Burns, as we've seen with many others, we don't want, if I'm talking about as the team, you don't want to go through a 5th-year option without either the knowledge that you're not bringing him back or a signed contract from at least the previous offseason. Jaycee Horn has played, I say played kind of loosely, 3 seasons in the NFL. And the reason why I say played loosely is because he's been hurt for big chunks of that entire run, like every year.
He's missed more games than he's played.
Which is kind of the equivalent of like what you saw with, obviously non-quarterback, but like a Jordan Love situation where he sits on the bench, then he plays a little bit, and then boom, right away you have to make a decision on whether you want to make him the highest paid quarterback in the league or not. Right? And you're just going, man, I wish we would have been able to see 2 or 3 years of this before we decided to break the bank for him. Jaycee Horn, while not completely sitting, hasn't been able to show what he can do over a full season. That's what he has to do this year. There's an article on ESPN written by David Newton, ESPN.com, with some quotes, and I'm going to read a few. Ejiro Evero, their defensive coordinator, says this about Bryce Young. In our opinion, he's one of the top corners in this league. He's the type of guy you can put on one side and move coverage from him and put him on the toughest matchup on the other team. We're just not as good when he's not on the field. End of quote. I'm going to now act out the internal monologue of Jaycee Horn's agent as he read that clip. Money, 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 money. You say you're not as good when he's off the field. Well, how much would it be worth to you to keep him on your field and not on some other defensive team's field? Jordan Matthews, his teammate, the 30-plus-year-old tight end veteran, been around the league, said this in the article. I call him 100 million Horn because that's how much he's worth. I'm just praying for health over him so he can show people what he can really do. 100 million Horn. Agent, there he goes again. What's the nickname they're calling you? Awesome. Tell him to keep that up anytime coach is around. David Newton then said this. This is from the reporter covering the Panthers for ESPN. The Panthers believe Horn is one of their cornerstones, and according to multiple sources with knowledge of the situation, are preparing to pay top dollar to keep him. Here's my advice on the Jaycee Horn situation. Continue preparing to pay him top dollar. Make sure you have the cap space. Make sure you are ready to sign that check. Continue preparing. But understand that you are not committed to paying him top dollar until you sign that contract. You have gather information. Watch this year. He's out there. By the way, I love what he's done in camp. He was my confidence yesterday in Cons and Cons, him and Deontay Johnson and their relationship, iron sharpening iron as a wide receiver and a corner. I like what Jaycee Horn is. If he gets hurt week 5 and is out for the season, do not give him top dollar. If he has a great 5-game stretch, do not give him top dollar. Wait and see if it continues. Wait till next offseason. You have time. Right? Everything in the article made it sound like they had made their decision to pay him. You're allowed to change your mind. I know it's, and I hate it in this industry that we're in. I hate it in some of the actual running team industries. Changing your mind is not some sign of weakness, right? Like, for example, we made our ACC Championship game picks today.
We did.
I picked NC State. If NC State comes out week 1 and loses to Western Carolina, which this is obviously an exaggerated for effect hypothetical, if they come out and lose to Western Carolina week 1, I'm not going to sit there between week 1 and week 2 and go, they're still my pick. I'm not flip-flopping because I have conviction in my opinions. I'll probably go, in light of new information, I would like to change my pick. Now, I'll admit my preseason pick was wrong, but I'm going to try to get my between week 1 and week 2 pick right.
Opinions are allowed to change when you have more information.
Sometimes it's like you draft a player in the 2nd round, they stink for 3 years. Coaches are still keeping him on the roster because they're like, I used a pick on him. I'm going like, well, now you're just compounding mistakes.
Are you describing Terrace Marshall Jr.? Is that what you're doing right now?
I was actually thinking it in reverse because I vividly recall Bill Belichick in the middle of the dynasty cutting like a 2nd rounder after 16 months on the team. And I was just going like, he knew, so he made the move, but there's not many coaches with job security that can do that because, you know, if you just cut a guy after 16 weeks, you're just screaming I was wrong. Prepare now to pay Jaycee Horn because, right, if for some reason there was like a deadline and you had to decide today, you'd pay him, but you don't. So watch the season, right? Week 1, match him up with Chris Olave. Right? See if he ends up being that guy all season that can lock down the opposing team's number 1. If he does that, hit next offseason with a Brinks truck, right? Then everything you've been preparing for, you just press execute, right? It's you have the glorious advantage of getting the opportunity to see him play a season. If this happened, like if there wasn't a 5th-year option, if this was his final year, you probably would have to make a decision right now, or at least much earlier. I'm a big fan of Jaycee Horn. I think he is wildly talented. I think he has all of the physical tools you need to be a lockdown corner. I'm excited for it. I also acknowledge he hasn't done it for a full season. And there is a difference between looking good over 7 games and looking good over 18 weeks, 17 games. So give yourself the out, right? I'm planning to pay him, but I might not.
Little contingency.
Yes.
There's a contingency, and that's okay.
And his agent...
Pay him contingent upon you being available.
His agent might, wait, last offseason when we talked, you said you did... And you're going to go, yeah, but then the week 4 game happened, and then did you see what Mike Evans did to him? And then, and you can fire back and say, in light of new information, I've changed my opinion. NFL, everybody says it's a results-based business. It's what have you done for me lately? Feel free to make those 2 cliches true. Or maybe save a little dough, right? We were prepared to pay him top dollar. But after another injury, We're now going to give you $5 million less per year than top dollar, but a shorter-term deal because you want to gain more information, right? Feel free to let it change. This is a big year for Jaycee Horn, and not just because he's good, because he also has things to prove. So just wait around and see if he proves them. It's kind of that simple. Be patient. Be willing to change your mind. These are personality traits that just are not celebrated anymore.
No.
Everybody wants decisive right now and convicted in your opinions. No matter how wrong they are, you back them up. I'm saying be the exact opposite. Be patient, gather every bit of information you can, and be willing to say I was wrong. Sometimes I think that's how insiders get burned. Insiders, right, like the reporters. Mm-hmm. They're like, I got good information. I don't know, the Niners are going to trade Ayuk to the Steelers, and they tweet it out. And then it doesn't happen, and they're like, everyone, oh, you're a loser. Oh, you're wrong. Your reporting's always bad. When it might just be one of the teams changed their mind. They were sending it. They had agreed to it, and then one said, actually, we're having cold feet. I know I said I would, but now I'm not going to. And it's like now the insider looks foolish.
Well, I'm saying doesn't mean their information was wrong. It's like, hey, they agreed. Doesn't mean they actually went through with it.
Exactly. I think guys get burned when you recognize teams can change their mind, players can change their mind. Until ink is dry, you don't have to be locked into anything.
This is where you save yourself. Agreed in principle.
Yeah, exactly. Moving towards a deal. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break. When we come back, football at 4, in which we name our 2 players to watch. Dennis and I, 2 each, to watch in preseason Game 3 for the Panthers. And I'll throw this out there. For the first time this preseason, starters are on our menu of options. They're playing tomorrow. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
I know the joint practices were great. I know Bryce Young looked great. They beat the Jets, air quotes there. But we really need to see it all in a game. I understand the preseason is the preseason. It doesn't matter. But we need to see the operation look right during game action. There is no substitute for an actual game. Let's see Bryce at least against Buffalo the last week of the preseason.
The Adam Gold Show, weekday starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
You know that feeling? That confident, swaggerific feeling that says, look at me, world, I know stuff. Own that feeling with PlaySmart, a fun new go-to resource from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With PlaySmart, get to know the odds, learn tips, set limits and budgets, and make the most of your play. Awesome feeling, right? Right. Play smart, the way smart players play. Visit ncplaysmart.com. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Wilkinson Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC in Sanford. One of the only showrooms where you can find 4 brands under one roof. Located at 3335 NC 87 South in Sanford or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
Hey, Katie. Hi. Let's embark on a performance calibration initiative synthesizing qualitative and quantitative metrics for this past fiscal year.
If Heineken Silver was corporate jargon, it would have all the info you need. None of the annoying gibberish.
What I was trying to say is, you crushed it last year, Katie. Lady, you are getting a big, fat bonus.
Heineken Silver, world-class light beer. Only 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
It's the summer of pink, and nobody's wearing it better than the gentlemen of Men Wear Pink. Campaign ambassadors and local leaders fundraising to support American Cancer Society's breast cancer initiatives. Check out their style with apparel from Crabtree retailers, including Allen Edmonds, Coach, Lululemon, Tickners, and local favorites at the Men Wear Pink VIP Soiree and Fashion Show this Saturday. The event is free, and donations from the silent auction benefit the American Cancer Society. Join the fun this Saturday from 2 to 4 at Crabtree's lower-level promotional court.
Experience a Raleigh tradition. Head to Amedio's Italian Restaurant, a family favorite for over 60 years. From weekly specials to their famous homemade recipes, Amedio's uses only the freshest ingredients. Need a touchdown for your tailgate? Amedio's offers delicious takeout, perfect for cheering on the Wolfpack. Or they can host your private party. Amedio's even caters. Amedio's Italian Restaurant, Raleigh's Taste of Italy since 1963. Visit Amedio'sRestaurant.com for details.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces his way into the end zone. Touchdown!
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Lovely afternoon out there. It feels great. We'll see a high of 82 degrees. Humidity remains low. Some cloud cover on and off through the afternoon. Tonight, down to 59, so another nice cool start for Saturday morning. Saturday afternoons, high 85, so a little bit warmer and slightly more humid, but we'll notice a bigger jump in the heat and humidity for Sunday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcomb&company.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 473 points today to 41,186. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
Football at 4 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Before we name the players we are most excited to watch in preseason Game 3, which, by the way, does include the starters. It is time for our fan football flyaway keyword for the 4 o'clock hour. Giving it to you right at the top of the hour so you have the full hour to text it in. This keyword will expire at 5 o'clock, and the keyword is prize. P-R-I-Z-E. That's a weird way to spell that. P-R-I-Z-E, prize, is the keyword. By the way, the Fan Football Flyaway, sponsored by the fabulous Mandalay Bay Hotel, Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb & Company. This hour's word is prize, and you have to text it in to 919-860-5326. Once you do that, as long as it's by 5 o'clock, you will gain an entry for your chance to win a trip for 2 to Vegas, where you'll see Carolina play against the Silver and Black. We're talking football in September. Flights, room, it's awesome. I stumbled upon this way of thinking of it yesterday. You may be like, I like watching them on my couch. Think of how cool it would be for you to call up a friend or your significant, whoever you want to bring with you, and say, hey, what are you doing in this weekend in September? And they go, I don't know. Got nothing planned. And you go, cool. We're going to Vegas, and you don't have to pay for any of it. This one's on me.
That'd be awesome.
Think of that moment alone right there is worth texting in every hour from noon to 6 every weekday until the drawing. That possibility of calling up somebody and just saying, hey, you know what? Leave your wallet at home. I got the flights. I got the room. I got all of it. You just go ahead and show up and wear your Vegas hat, right? Wear your party hat, I guess would be the way to put that. Literally, this could be the text that wins it for you. Text prize to 919-860-5326 by 5 o'clock to gain an entry.
And here's the thing. It's a local contest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like some big national thing. No. This is us.
Significantly better than like the lottery odds.
Exactly.
By quite a bit.
But hey, same rule applies. Can't win unless you play.
Can't win unless you play. Listen for another keyword coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, and that 5 o'clock hour word will be the last one of the week. We'll have to wait all the way till Monday. So, you know what to do.
Get on it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now it's time for Football at 4. 2 players that you're most excited to watch or you want to learn the most about or you think are pivot points in preseason game 3 for the Panthers, with one caveat. Bryce Young. Okay, we've talked about Bryce. We will talk about Bryce. We'll break down Bryce's performance every which way. But I hope they don't really let him do much. I hope it's very kind of open and shut, business-like for Bryce. So we're excluding Bryce from the possibilities just because we'd both have to say him and then we'd only get to pick one. I'll give you one first. Trevin Wallace. 3rd round rookie for the Panthers.
Nice.
He's been reportedly great during training camp. We've seen him be great during training camp, joint practices, and the like. But here's what I'm interested in, most specifically. Does he get any reps with the starters? Is it just Shaq Thompson and Josie Jewell every snap? Those are the two guys. They're going to be there. Or do you anticipate, there's probably going to be a point in the season where Trevin Wallace has to get out there with these guys. Do you get him a few and just see what happens? Because he's, while running with the non-starters for a lot of the camp, at times he's looked like starting quality. So I want to see who he plays alongside with. Right? Gosh forbid something happens to Shaq Thompson again and he misses time. Does Josie Jewell become the play caller, the green dot as they call it, with the microphone in it or the speakers in his helmet? Or do they go to somebody like Trevin Wallace and let Josie Jewell's position not change? It's all up in the air. But I'm excited to see Trevin Wallace and where he fits into the rotation today on the defensive side.
Okay.
Who's one of yours, Dennis?
I'm going Robert Hunt, offensive lineman.
Right.
Hey, you spend $100 million on an offensive lineman to protect Bryce Young and improve your running game. Let's see you maul some dudes over, bud. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see Robert Hunt pancaking people. Give me Robert Hunt.
Have you seen the movie Just Go With It? I don't know why this popped in my head.
Okay, maybe I have.
Adam Sandler fakes a relationship with Jennifer Aniston, I think.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly. I know what you're talking about.
There's a scene where he goes up to a very nice hotel and he says, like, hey, we need a room. We didn't get a chance to book anything ahead of time. And they go like, oh, the presidential super duper suite is the only room that's available. And he goes, how much is it? I forget what it is, like $10,000 a night. And he goes like, $10,000 a night? What is it, made of panda? And it's basically, right, the whole joke is if you're paying that much money, you better be getting something special, right? This better not just be another room up there that's just a little bit bigger than a normal suite. If I'm paying that much, it better be made of panda. If you're paying $100 million for an interior offensive lineman, not a tackle, not an edge rusher, not a quarterback, you're paying $100 million for a guard. Better be made of panda. It better do something special, right? It better be above and beyond what you get from a normal guard. You better be pulling and blocking corners and leading the way, 50 yards downfield for rushing touchdowns. Maybe a fumble-rooski, get your hands on the ball.
Let's go.
Get some rushing yards out of it. Bryce Young's a smaller guy. If he has a pass tipped, you're making the catch. Head on a swivel.
Let's
there,
get
Robert
that first
Hunt.
down. Let's go.
Let's make legendary moments happen.
So, yeah, Robert Hunt.
I'm with it.
That's my first one.
I'm going elsewhere on the offensive line.
All right.
It's pretty rare that we're excited to see two different offensive linemen come up.
Well, their offensive line stunk last year, so I just want to see some level of improvement.
Speaking of Ike Ekwonu.
Oh, yeah.
The closer and closer we get to the first game, I think the more and more your brain kind of zeroes in on the things that you are actually worried about. Because I'm worried about the linebackers, but the closer you get, you go, actually, I trust Shaq Thompson and Josie Jewell. I'm worried about the receivers, but it's like, yeah, but even if Xavier Legette doesn't pan out, it's still Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen, which is better than last year. And then my brain gets to Ike Ekwonu, and I really start to think the whole season, in a lot of ways, comes down to Ike Ekwonu simply being better. Because you're right, the rest of the offensive line wasn't good last year, but Robert Hunt is brand new. Damian Lewis is brand new. Taylor Moton has been pretty good. And Austin Corbett, you can kind of hide a center as long as he's a smart guy. And Austin Corbett is.
When he was healthy, he was good.
Yep. And he's smart and he's experienced. I'm not super worried there. Again, 2 months ago I kind of was, but now I'm like, you know what? I think
he'd be all right.
Just as you get closer, the things you actually need to do start to pop out. Ike Ekwonu, man. Everything we're talking about with the improvement of Bryce, everything we're talking about the improvement of the wide receiving core, none of that matters if edge rushers are winning quickly off the edge. None of it matters if outside linebackers are getting a free run or if he's getting confused on twists and is blocking the wrong guy, which we saw quite a bit of last year. I actually think he's pretty good once he engages with somebody. The hard part is he seems a little timid is this the guy I'm supposed to be blocking? Sometimes he's all out blocking the wrong person. Ike Ekwonu, the whole season starts with him. His whole on-field game action starts tomorrow. I'm just going to be watching to see. Now, if he plays poorly in a preseason, I'm not going to write it off as like it's over, but I would really like to see just a strong, solid, no mistake, 1 or 2 series performance from Ekwonu.
He's one of the guys like Jaycee Horn that's kind of on a prove-it year.
100%.
Yeah, very much so.
And
very much so.
And I don't think he'll have the same safety net that Jaycee Horn has, which is people still believe in his ability. Like there's a lot of we'll give him another shot for Jaycee Horn. I don't know if there's as much of that for Icky.
I don't think so
If
either.
he wants to be a tackle especially, better be good this year. He might get another shot at guard or something else. Who's the other person you want to watch?
Xavier Legette.
Oh, look at that.
We haven't seen him play. He didn't participate in the joint practice against the Jets. He hasn't played in a preseason game. Let's see this guy actually play. I want to see what this guy can do. Is the explosiveness as real as what we saw in college? How are they going to use him in some different ways? Hey, is it just like, hey, you know what? Here we're going to do. We're going to do a little crossing route. You just catch and run, bud. Whatever it is, or in the return game, something like that. I'm excited to see Xavier Legette actually out there on the field outside of practice.
As you started talking
against someone else,
you kind of started it the same way. ESPN.com put out a full rundown of every rookie draft pick.
Okay.
And kind of like they called it a report card, but they didn't really give grades. Just like a breakdown of how they've been doing through preseason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to read you the first 2 sentences of Xavier Legette.
Okay.
You can't call him a bust. You can't call him a success.
Yeah.
They continue with, you can't call him anything because he's dealing with a foot injury after dealing with a hamstring injury during OTAs. Report card, that's the most incomplete I've ever seen.
That's it.
Well, you didn't take any of the tests, so I have no idea if you've learned the material.
Just incomplete grade. Simple as that. I want to see him on the field against someone else. I'm excited for it.
Here's the thing with Xavier Legette and why he was in the running for mine. I think the plays that he is expected to make a difference on, they're not going to call in a preseason game.
Probably not.
Because he's the guy, he's got a little Debo Samuel in him. You're going to try to get him the ball in creative ways. Or if it's like more traditional, I think it'll be down the field. And I don't think you take the risk of having Bryce Young have to wait around to throw down the field. And I don't think you show them any of your creative ways in preseason. So I think there's a good shot, if he does play today, Xavier Legette will be out there running like the third read routes and probably won't get many targets, if any. Maybe a quick screen or something just so he gets the ball in his hands. But I wouldn't be surprised if he has a quiet day. And I wouldn't hate that, by the way. Don't show your cards if you don't have to. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was football at 4. Coming up next, the Panthers not only have all the excitement we just talked about with preseason Game 3, they also have to make some really hard decisions on the end of their roster. We preview some of those tough decisions that you do not envy the GM for having to make next.
College football is back. Join 99.9 The Fan for an all-day Saturday triple header. Florida State and Georgia Tech at noon.
Lubnick back to throw. Throws it, and it's too tall. That is the ball game. Florida State comes in and wins the game. Oh, my.
Montana State and New Mexico at 4. And SMU and Nevada at 8. College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
Is that your new Nissan Rogue?
Yeah,
Crazy story. I'm at the Nissan end of summer sales event when Laura, the saleswoman, asks, "Want to test drive the Rogue?" I'm like, "Let's go." We're driving when Laura says,
"Want to see something cool? VC turbo engine."
I hit the gas and whoosh. I'm like, "Okay, wasn't expecting that." Laura goes,
"Check this out."
She shows me the miles per gallon, and I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty impressive fuel economy."
These new Nissan Rogues are going fast.
I knew I had to have that Nissan Rogue. Crazy, right?
Wait till you hear how I got my Nissan Sentra. Get up to $2,500 total savings on remaining select early model 2024 Rogue Platinum trims. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city 34 highway to 30 city 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. Total savings consists of $1,250 retail customer cash plus $1,250 bonus cash on select remaining 2024 Rogue inventory as available at your local dealership. Select Rogue bonus cash available on 40% of dealers' most aged inventory. Updated weekly. Available on purchase from new dealer stock. Contact your local dealer for current inventory information. Ends 9/3/24. It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Lenny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There are hundreds, maybe thousands, of NFL football players that are going to be shaking in their boots for the next week. Like, this is not a joke. Maybe don't call your NFL fringe roster friends over the next week, because when that phone rings, they're going to go, because what they're waiting on, or what they're hoping doesn't come, is the call saying, hey, grab your playbook. Coach wants to meet you in his office. And, you calling just to say, hey, how's it going? How's training camp? Might give him a little mini heart attack. It's already started. The Bengals have cut 11 players because their preseason, the games ended yesterday. So they no longer need bodies to, fill out the fourth quarter of minutes. They cut 11 players today, just kind of as the first step towards getting down to their 53-man roster. The entire league has to be at their 53-man roster Tuesday at 4, I believe is the exact time. So with the Cincinnati Bengals already starting, teams are going to start, for the lack of a more kind of easy to take word, they're going to start ruining dreams, right? They start calling up people that have worked for the last 2 decades to be good enough to be where they're standing right now and saying, not good enough for this team. And the Panthers are going to have to as well. And it's not always fair or just or the way that it's envisioned in like sports movies, right? Sometimes, hey, you've had a better camp than this other guy that's at your position. You've worked harder than this other guy that's at your position. Your position coach likes you more than this other guy that's at your position, but he's got guaranteed money into next season. So you got to go. Mm-hmm. It might be, hey, we love you. You're great. You've worked ridiculously hard. This other guy who hasn't worked nearly as hard as you happens to be better than you, more physically gifted. So we're going to go with him. I've said that a bunch of times. That's why I could never coach. I couldn't, like, my team would be full of Rudies. My team would I would not be able to turn away the guy that shows up early, stays late, works hard. If you're a coach and you're above, like, the youth level, so you're paid to try to win, sometimes you have to look at the guy that works harder and say, I get you work harder, you do everything right. But this other guy that shows up right at the beginning of practice and leaves the moment I say practice is over is faster than you, taller than you, stronger than you. So I got to play them. I wouldn't be able to do it. So that's why I think Hard Knocks took off the way it did. Because you see the stories of, I vividly remember, I think it was the Cowboys, and we're talking like maybe 2006 they were on there. And did you follow like Bledsoe or Romo or whoever the quarterback was? Yeah. But you also followed this was Danny Amendola was on the back end of the roster. And he actually ended up being one of the last cuts off the Cowboys before catching on with the Rams and eventually being a Super Bowl hero. Like learning the stories at the end, I think is part of the secret sauce of Hard Knocks. Not only do you learn the making $10 million a year guys, you learn my signing bonus was $100 in a bus ticket, guys, and them getting cut is part of the story.
And there's always that staffer, like an assistant strength coach or something like that pops in and is like, "Hey, coach needs to see you." You're like, you don't want that guy coming up and talking to you.
The Grim Reapers, as they call them. And you're right. It's sometimes it's an assistant GM, sometimes it's a director of player personnel, but everybody on the team knows him. And when he goes walking down your hall, he just knocks on your door. Hey, coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook. So for the Panthers, by the way, shout out to Panthers Playbook, hosted by our very own Dennis Cox and Chris Lee from over at WRAL. They broke down the roster like fully all the way.
53.
We're not going to do that. We're just going to look at some of the guys that are on that bubble, right? So we're not going to take you through all 53, but somebody like Ihmir Smith-Marsette, who, by the way, was a part of a trade last year, right around this time. Kind of getting ahead of waivers, the Panthers swapped 7th-rounders, I believe.
Yep, with the Kansas City Chiefs.
To bring in Ihmir Smith-Marsette. They had a need with a deep threat, but more importantly, a returner. And Ihmir Smith-Marsette filled that role. Ironically, the return game completely changed this year with the kickoff. And now I think he has to show something as a wide receiver to make the roster. So there's a little bit of year 2, you got to do more than you did year 1 to make the team. You think he makes the team, Dennis?
I have him as not. I actually have him as the odd man out. I actually have the Carolina Panthers only keeping 5 wideouts. I think he's the odd man out.
Does that make room for an extra other pass catcher, meaning a tight end, maybe a Jordan Matthews, who's next up on our list to discuss?
I have Jordan Matthews making the team, especially because there's some injury concerns with Tommy Tremble coming back from his hamstring. Ian Thomas still working his way back from a calf injury, maybe ready to go week 1, so you want to have a little insurance. I would not be surprised if Jordan Matthews makes the team.
My 2 answers for Ihmir Smith-Marsette and Jordan Matthews are both cop-outs, and I completely understand it.
Okay.
I think Ihmir Smith-Marsette makes the roster on Tuesday. I think there's a good chance with cuts happening around the league, the Panthers claim a returner on Wednesday. So technically he makes the 53-man roster for about 18 hours and then he gets cut for a returner on Wednesday.
Based on what we've seen through the first 2 preseason games, the starters and the guys that pretty much are going to make the team have not played. Raheem Blackshear has not played the first 2 games, even though he's been healthy. So he's a kick returner too. So it's almost like you have to be able to show that you can do more than also that guy too, because we already have this guy that can return kicks. Xavier Legette can return kicks too.
I want Xavier Legette returning kicks.
So you have to show that you can do a lot more at a pretty high level.
And my cop-out for Jordan Matthews is I think he stays. I think he makes the roster. I think he hangs around until Ian Thomas proves he's over the injury. I don't see this offense carrying 4, especially if the fourth is a 30-something-year-old mostly pass catcher rather than somebody like a Tremble that can block and catch.
Covers kicks, though.
Is a special teamer. Don't get me wrong. I like Jordan Matthews. I think Jordan Matthews' career renaissance is really cool.
I think that's great for the locker room.
From kind of a bust-ish wide receiver to a like team-first guy tight end in the span of like 6-7 years is kind of a cool transition. So I like Jordan Matthews. I think he makes the team. I think he plays for the Panthers this year. I'm just not sure how long into the season he makes it once Ian Thomas gets back. Offensive line, there's the 5 starters. There's Ickey, Robert Hunt. There's Corbett in the middle. There's Damian Lewis, and there's Taylor Moton.
Mm-hmm.
As of yesterday, Yosh Nijman is healthy.
Literally, like not even 24 hours ago.
Yosh Nijman was an off-season acquisition, spent the early part of his career with the Packers. I'm high on Yosh as a swing tackle. He can back up both tackles. Once you get past that, and Christensen's probably locked in there as well.
Yeah, he can play on any spot on the O-line.
Once you get past that, it is anybody's game.
Mm-hmm.
It is Cade Mays, Chandler Zavala, Ricky Lee, Mason Brooks, who they just claimed off Washington a few days ago, Andrew Rame, who's an undrafted free agent rookie out of Oklahoma, but he plays center. Like, that's not going to be an easy one for the evaluators. But it's also a situation where I think out of those names I just read kind of quickly, 2? You're saying 2? Are you with that? You got to keep 2 of them?
I think they keep 9 offensive linemen. On Panthers Playbook, I told Chris one of those 9 is going to be from someone not on the Panthers roster. I
was just going to say that. They might be caught in the Amir Smith-Marset situation. You might claim 1, maybe 2 off of waivers since you have first waiver priority. That all just depends on who's available elsewhere. We talked about the Bengals already. The Bengals are down to like 78 players. They're not even close to down to their 53.
Mm-hmm.
And they've already cut a second-round offensive lineman from the 2021 draft. So there's obviously a pedigree there. Now they're cutting him very early on in the process. So, that says something as well. But you might get those 7 that we talked about, the 5 starters, Christensen and Yosh Nijman, and 2 new guys. Like, that's well within the realm of possibility.
Like Chandler Zavala has been getting high remarks this year.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had a rough last year. I think he was kind of thrown into the mix well before he was ready just because of all the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And he himself got nicked up too. So Zavala might be it. So it might just be 1.
If you have Zavala, an NC State guy, 4th-round pick last year, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, they still might think they've got something there. But it's interesting. And then similarly on the defensive backs, specifically the corners, there's a handful that you're sure. Then there's this big group vying for maybe the last 1 or 2 spots, right? You know Jaycee Horn's good. You know Troy Hill's good. You know Dane Jackson's good. There's a handful of Shao Smith-Wade's probably good as a 5th-round pick. That's shown a little bit this preseason.
Sure.
Then you hit the DiCaprio Boodles. Then you hit. They already moved on from Lamar Jackson, the corner. Then Deshaun Jameson, who's flashed a little bit. Damani Richardson, who's more of a safety, but he's flashed a little bit. Alex Cook, another safety. He's been solid and brings something to the table. Jamie Robinson. I don't know.
Also, the recently traded for Michael Jackson.
I think Michael Jackson is safe, obviously.
My guess, if you're making that move, you're planning on keeping him.
It's that group that I read is fighting for 1 spot. And again, the waiver wire is looming. You might make the team on Tuesday and get the cold, hard news on Wednesday.
I think the hardest one where there's the most depth is safety because you have Nick Scott, Jordan Fuller that they brought in along with Xavier Woods. Mm-hmm. Those 3 guys are making it.
Yep.
Rudy Ford's been in the NFL for about 8 or 9 years. You also have Damani Richardson, who's been playing great. Jamie Robinson can play both nickel corner and can play safety. Alex Cook, that's actually the hardest one because I think that's actually where they have the most depth.
It's going to be tough.
It's not going to be an easy thing.
And then the Panthers have to, while they're deciding who to cut, be also preparing for claiming waivers because they have the first waiver position. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of, you got to split your eyeballs and look in 2 different directions at the same time. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you want a full roster breakdown, Panthers Playbook, find it on YouTube or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Their most recent episode is all about the 53-man roster.
All about it.
Right now, this is how my brain works.
Mm-hmm.
For the last 2 days, we had Gino Torretta on the show. What was that, Wednesday?
Yes.
He was on the call for the Florida State-Georgia Tech game. He's the 1992 Heisman Trophy winner, national champion with the University of Miami. And he was getting ready to fly out to Ireland to call the Florida State-Georgia Tech game. We had him on to preview the game, preview the season for the ACC, talk a little football. There was something he said that rattled around in my brain for the last 2 days, right? And when that happens, I usually go, all right, we got to get to the bottom of this. Because if I'm doing that, someone else might be doing that, right? It's the rule of fifth grade. If you have a question, ask, because there's a good chance someone else in the room has the same question and they're too embarrassed to ask. So Gino Torretta, we were talking about the Florida State-Georgia Tech game and multiple times brought up how Florida State was maybe vulnerable early in the season or more importantly, was dealing with the challenge of bringing DJ Uiagalelei in as a transfer and how the offense was going to be new to him and how he was going to have to get used to it. And Gino even told what I thought was a really cool story of Erickson, the quarterback that he backed up at Miami before he took over as the starter. They had changed coaches. I think it was Jimmy Johnson just left and Dennis Erickson came in. And the starting quarterback was out there down on the goal line, or I forget exactly the situation. But it was a 2-minute drill, something he had to decide quick. And he audibled, changed the play at the line of scrimmage, but he audibled with the previous year's playbook. He audibled with the previous year's play call. And everyone else had to scramble and figure out what he meant and so on and so on. So he's bringing that up as like a DJU is going to have those types of challenges to get over. I thought that was interesting. Why? Well, because if you look around the ACC, Cam Ward, Miami, transferred. Obviously, DJU, Florida State, transfer. Tyler Shaw at Louisville, transfer. Here in the Triangle, Malik Murphy, Duke, transfer. Grayson McCall, NC State, transfer. These are all starting quarterbacks. Kyle McCord, Syracuse, transfer. Maybe UNC, Max Johnson, transfer.
Possibly.
Maybe. There's just transfers all over the place starting at quarterback. So I wanted to prod a little bit on Gino, and I said, all right, well, Cam Ward. Cam Ward, Miami Hurricanes. He's everybody's preseason player of the year pick. Is that hype too much because he's a transfer? And then Gino immediately flipped. And he went to, well, actually, no. Because Cam Ward at Washington State ran a very similar offense to the one he's going to run at Miami, so he's not going to have those same growing pains, and that's why Gino Torretta was bullish on the Miami Hurricanes and Cam Ward. And, of course, my brain immediately goes to Gino's, by the way, he's great color commentary, great on the call. You'll hear him on 99.9 The Fan for the Florida State and Georgia Tech game. I went, all right, he's a Miami guy. He's finding a reason to be optimistic about his team. Went to his team. I do that for Delaware. He's probably doing it for Miami. But I couldn't let it leave. I just couldn't leave it there and say, that's it. It's just that. Because I don't think Gino would do that. And then it hit me. It's partially true. He's right, but what he's maybe not fully grasping as much as I would is other teams like Florida State, like NC State, like Duke, these other teams with these quarterbacks that are transfers can help their quarterback the same way Miami kind of fortuitously fell into helping their quarterback. Right? The transition won't be as difficult for Cam Ward because Washington State and Miami's offense is similar. The task for offensive coordinators, head coaches, and teammates of a transfer starting quarterback is to bring in elements of the offense they used to play in and that they played well in and that they already know like the back of their hand. College football doesn't have a good warm-up period. At best, you have one tune-up game. In the case of somebody like Clemson and Georgia, you're playing one of the best teams in the country right out of the gate, right? Like there's not a good warm-up. There is no preseason. So you don't have the ability to say, hey, new quarterback, learn our offense, get in the preseason, see it through, get used to it, get some reps, and then by the regular season we'll hit the ground running. You need them to be running full speed at the opening game. So you better bring in some of what they already know. Florida State better have watched the film of DJU at Oregon State and figured out what he does well and brought some of that into their offense. Robert and Nye, the offensive coordinator for NC State, better have asked Grayson McCall, what were your 30 favorite plays from earlier in your career? Draw them out for me. Explain them to me. All right, we're putting them all in the playbook. And if when Grayson McCall gets rattled, lean on those 30 plays, right? Give him his teddy bear. Are you afraid? Here, take this seam route that you love so much, that you've been running for 5 years at Coastal. Put it on autopilot for a second. Do what you love to do. Same thing with Manny Diaz and that coaching staff with Malik Murphy. Same thing if Max Johnson ends up playing, which Mack Brown said all the quarterbacks are going to play for UNC. When Max Johnson is in there, make sure you know what he liked at LSU and Texas A&M. Find what they do well and let them do it. Right? Sometimes I think it's just about like fitting the talent. Right? We talk about Robert and I at NC State a lot, and kind of one of his calling cards is he looks at the talent of his offensive roster and he builds an offense around them. Sometimes it's not just what you think they would do best, but it's what they know best, right? It's not just, hey, a guy with your skill set, he should be running nothing but, talking to a wide receiver, he should be running nothing but posts and corner routes. And then they're like, ooh, that's funny because through the first 3 years of my career at this other school, I was running nothing but digs and comebacks. And obviously not exactly how it works, but okay, cool. Then let's run some digs and comebacks if that's what you're comfortable running. Let's build around you. Dave Doran, the head coach of NC State, talked about his offensive coordinator adjusting well with players and the new ones.
But it's a process, and that's one of the strengths that Coach and I has. He's very, very pliable when it comes to moving things around and adjusting from routes to blocking schemes to formations to motions. He's done a lot in his career. And so he can adjust pretty quickly. But it's been a fun process too, because obviously the offense ran through our slot last year for obvious reason why. He was really, really talented and he could do things with the football. And now it's keeping that in the offense and, what else is going to happen with Jordan Waters, with Noah, with Takari and all these things, Justin Jolie.
And Grayson McCall too. Make him
all of them.
Make him part of the not just architecture. Make him part of being the architect of your offense. The same thing that Gino was deciphering between the way Florida State might deal with their transfer quarterback and the way Miami might deal with their transfer quarterback. That's not just like these are differences. You can't change them. You can actually move yourself towards the better situation with just a little bit of flexibility and adaptability and willingness to not be locked into your ways. I absolutely hate, by the way, when a coach is like known for a system, right? Because I always think it just hurts recruiting, right? If you're like, hey, or I'll use basketball as an example. It used to be Jim Boeheim with Syracuse. I'm the 2-3 zone guy. And I'm like, well, what if the best player in the country grew up in Syracuse, but he doesn't have long arms? He doesn't have wingspan. It doesn't fit the 2-3 zone. You're not going to look at him and say, well, if I have players that aren't suited to the 2-3 zone, I'll play man. I'll play the 1-3-1. I'll play, we'll run and gun. We'll be 7 seconds or less. When you're just the 2-3 zone guy, it's you can't really adjust and be flexible to your team. So, if you're the run and shoot guy, hey, we throw it 55 times a game. I don't know. Seems like running backs that you might be able to get to commit might be a little bummed out by that. Offensive linemen might be a little bummed out by that. So Grayson McCall, Max Johnson or Malik Murphy, right? These transfers all the way around the league, give them a little bit of their old offense. I'm not saying you got to completely change it. I don't think NC State has to call up Jamie Chadwell and say, what'd you run at Coastal Carolina? We want to get Grayson McCall back to where he was. But you might watch a little film. It's no different than, we expect the Panthers to watch the Alabama film and see what Bryce Young does well. It's no different than, C.J. Stroud brought a lot of concepts with him from Ohio State. You don't have to start at square one if they already know what they're doing. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I do want to one more time remind you, because there's about 21 more minutes until the top of the hour, that this hour's keyword for the Fan Football Flyaway is prize. Had to double check. Prize. Text it in to 919-860-5326 before the end of the hour. So before 5 o'clock, and you will get an entry into our contest in which you could win a trip for two to Vegas. Someone will win a trip for two to Vegas, where you can see Carolina play against the Silver and Black in September, and also flights, rooms, all of it.
And that word again, one more time?
Prize.
Like keep your eyes on the prize.
Like keep your eyes on the prize.
I like it.
Prize. Text it into 919-860-5326, and then listen in for another keyword coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, and that one will be the last keyword of the week. You'll have to wait till Monday at noon, so keep your dialing fingers, your texting fingers ready. We're going to take a break. When we come back, a little bit of real bold predictions for you, certified, authentic bold predictions coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
There's like the helicopter parent and the overprotective parent. They're the kids that kind of put their finger on them and say, no, don't go too far outside. And there's a little bit of that happening with the Panthers. And I get it, it's the preseason because your starters are your starters, right? Deontay Johnson says, my foot hurts. Damn it, his foot hurts. It might be broken. Pull him off the field.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You know it's going to be a good day when your biggest concern in the morning is collecting the crumbs falling from the McDonald's crispy chicken biscuit. Your only concern should be, has your day peaked too early?
Start your morning off on a high note when you save on a warm and buttery crispy chicken biscuit for just $2.50. Only at McDonald's.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9313. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9313. That's 800-575-9313. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There's a lot of bold predictions, segments, periods on like television shows, podcasts. They don't do it right, though. They don't do it right because there's no certification. There's no double stamp or triple stamp. And what I mean by that is they just say, all right, it's time for bold predictions. They give a prediction that they say is bold, and they move on. The problem is there's not that many bold predictions actually being made. I have a bold prediction. Aaron Rodgers is going to play more plays than he did last year. Whoa, look at that. That wouldn't fly on our show, right? You say something that's not bold enough, you hear the not bold enough buzzer. And you have to make it more bold on the spot until you hear the bold enough bell. There you go. Can we hear the buzzer one time as well? There it is. So I make the predictions. I believe they're bold. If they're not bold enough, I have to make them more bold on the spot. And guess what? For the first time in months, quite a long time, we have NFL games to predict, because by the time we do this again next Friday, there will be at least one NFL game. Is the Brazil game on in a weird time, or is it at night?
It's a Friday night.
Okay, well, I have one from that game as well because I didn't know when it was being played. And there's also college games. There's legitimate college games. So let's start with one of the NFL games. Ravens beat the Chiefs. Is that bold enough? Ravens beat the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson accounts for 3 total touchdowns. Ravens beat the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson accounts for 4 total touchdowns. All right. I was prepared to go to 5. I think he's going to have a big day. And I think once they get down in the goal line, there's going to be the it's almost like the hype of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the same backfield, having a running game like on the 3 is going to be so over the top that they're just going to like play action and find, I don't know, a fullback in the flat just wide open, or Mark Andrews dancing in the back of the end zone wide open, because you have to sell out so much to stop Derrick Henry, who's now a Raven, by the way. That's going to be weird to see. Let's go ahead and give me Lamar for a whole bunch of touchdowns, and they beat the Chiefs.
You're giving these predictions way in advance.
Yes. 1 week too early, actually. You're right. Wow, I was hoping it was next week, but it's college football starting, not NFL football.
You are you're ahead. You're just that eager. No, it's fine. Keep it rolling.
I have Jordan Love accounts for more touchdowns than Jalen Hurts. All right. Eagles still might win, but I think Jordan Love's going to throw for a bunch of touchdowns. Let's get to something that actually is taking place this weekend without a weird brain freeze on my part. The Panthers are playing tomorrow in preseason game 3.
Yeah, they are.
Ja'Tavion Sanders touchdown time.
I like this. Go on. Tell me more.
Well, first of all, I think that obviously the starters are playing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'll see much, if any, of Tremble. You won't see Thomas because he's still out.
I think Tremble's on a pitch count, they said.
I think his pitch count should be like, do you know where to line up? Cool. Timeout. Get him off the field. Just because he's recently dealing with an injury and it's a hammy, take your time. And you're a veteran. You've been in the league now, what, this is 4th year, I think?
Yeah, 4th year in the league.
Give him some time, which means a lot of Ja'Tavion Sanders. I also think that Ja'Tavion Sanders, being a rookie who is actually, even though he's been playing a lot with the starters, he's not really at the top of the depth chart, right? So they may even play him with Andy Dalton, because if I believe I've heard correctly, Canales also said he wants to get Andy Dalton some reps. So
possibly it's still up in the air.
Bryce for a drive or 2, Andy Dalton for a drive or 2. I think that's going to be a lot of Sanders, and also tight ends in the red zone. I mean, come on, cheat code. Next up, let's go to the college games taking place tomorrow. Roydell Williams, 2 touchdowns.
For
Florida State.
What position does he play?
He plays running back. Roydell Williams, 3 touchdowns. Roydell Williams is a transfer from Alabama. Last year he had 5 touchdowns for Bama, but he is – Florida State, I think, is going to get into this little rhythm where they're just picking out transfers for 1 year of skill position play. And I also think this. I think Florida State can overpower Georgia Tech a little bit, right, just based on being bigger, taller, faster, stronger. And that's going to lean well in the running game. And then on top of that, especially while the game is close, if it stays close the whole game, then the entire game, I believe they're going to try to really ease in DJ Uiagalelei, which means run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Roydell Williams, I think, is going to be the beneficiary of that. He is their transfer. 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and likely a Florida State win in Dublin.
That's going to be fun to see. It's going to be fun to watch that game.
It's cool. It's going to be in Ireland. I don't know if it'll really change that much for us other than like going in and out of commercial. We're going to see clips of cliffs in the ocean and rolling green hills.
All the B-roll, it's going to be all about the scenery and everything.
Football in a stadium, you look down on a gridiron, that's just kind of what it looks like.
I think it's going to be pretty cool for those guys.
I think it's awesome for the players. I was upset when Gino Toretta, who's calling the game, told us that the players they're not getting out there early. They're flying in. I think it was either this morning or yesterday and then leaving right after the game the next morning.
That kind of stinks.
Yeah, take in the culture. Get out there for a week. We got to focus in on winning, I guess.
What was the favorite place that you went to? Do you ever a fun place that you played at?
I've answered this the same way from the moment I walked in there. We played at Navy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Twice in my career, and it's cool. Mm-hmm. Like the stadium, right? The ring, like you don't even think of all the little things. They just do it well. Like it's a service academy. The Ring of Honor, where mostly you walk into a stadium, it says like retired players, jersey numbers and stuff, and it's it says like Matt Ryan or it says Ozzie Newsome. I don't know, just around theirs. It has battles that the U.S. Navy has won.
Really?
So around their Ring of Honor, it says like Iwo Jima. It's like,
jeez.
And you realize it's like, oh, yeah, okay, we're going up against some very
that's not intimidating at all.
Individuals. Every time you score or every time they score, a whole bunch of midshipmen run onto the field and do push-ups, 1 for every point. So I like to say, because we got absolutely schmalacked by like 51 of the times I was there. So they went out, they do 7 the first time, they score another touchdown. They don't run out and do 7 more. They run out and do 14.
Yep.
Then the next one, if they score again, they run out and do 21. By the end, I think I did my part to get our United States Naval Academy students, the midshipmen, in shape because we gave up a whole bunch of points. I think by the end, they had done 700 push-ups because we just kept giving up points. So
we helped them get their PT in. Good job.
Did my part. But no, that's easily the coolest place that I played.
Mine was New York City. Played a game my senior year in the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
What field?
We're Columbia.
Okay.
Columbia University is actually where we played. So the school that we were playing, it was Mount St. Vincent was the school that we were playing, and they were kind of landlocked. Obviously being New York City, they didn't actually have like a home field. They had a place they could practice, but not something they actually could have for games. So we played the game at Columbia University on the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
Did you take the subway to the game?
No, I wish we had though. But we took the bus we had. We rolled right up Broadway.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it was pretty cool. And I was like, man, we're right here on Columbia's campus. Like the whole skyline and everything in the background. It was awesome.
That is cool. Let's get back to the real bold predictions. SMU beats Nevada by 14. 21.
Yeah, go ACC.
I think the spread is like 28. I was trying to get you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but hey, I teased it down to 21.
Xavier Wolf in our YouTube live chat, SMU finna to drop the hammer on Nevada.
I tend to agree, especially with Preston Stone back, their quarterback. I have to admit, Didn't watch a lot of SMU last year. Had no reason to. A lot of people are very impressed with Preston Stone. I'm excited to watch a little bit of him and see where he fits into the hierarchy of the conference of quarterbacks, as the ACC's brand themselves. So Nevada, sorry, you're on the ACC tracks and you're just about to get run over by the train. You know what I mean? Choo-choo. ACC coming through. Last one here, and this is the same one. It's been, I think we're going on 6 weeks now.
Okay.
The ACC gets 3 teams in the college football playoff. I look forward to the day it's no longer bold. It's been bold for 6 straight weeks. At a certain point, I'm thinking like week 7, there's going to be 3 or 4 teams in like the top 15 from the ACC, and I'm going to say it, and you're going to have to go, and I'm going to go, yes, we've made it. I think the ACC is going to turn some heads. I think they're going to surprise some people.
When we gave our predictions for who wins the ACC this year, I gave a scenario where we had a 3-way tie for atop the ACC and NC State being left out, but they could be that third team that actually makes it into the college football playoff, even if they don't make it to the ACC championship game. It is a real possibility out there, folks.
I think there's a decent possibility you get 3 out of Florida State, Clemson, NC State, Miami, Virginia Tech. Maybe if something crazy happens at Louisville or an SMU, you get 3 out of that group. I think it's possible. And it's a bold prediction that I've been hammering home for over a month now. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. One more time before the top of the hour. Keyword for this hour, so it ends at 5 o'clock. You have about 5 minutes to text this word in. Prize, Prize. Text it in to 919-860-5326, and that'll gain you an entry for your chance to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. How cool is that? If you've already texted in this hour, you can only text it in once per hour. It does the keyword does expire at 5, but tune in for the next hour because we'll have another keyword for you. It'll be the last one of the week. So, starting 5 is coming up next. Our next fan football flyaway keyword is coming up next. And more. Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
We haven't seen the best version of either Andy Reid or the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm just sitting there thinking about the team that they're marching out with this year. We know they have an all-world defense, and now their offense has more weaponry for Mahomes to work with than the past couple of years. This iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs will be the best version of them that we've seen over the last 3 years.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Bobby Joe absolutely hated her job.
Can't hate that job any more than I do.
So, time for one of those fancy tech schools?
No, I could never afford that. I'm going to Sharky's.
Sharky's?
Yeah, no better place to relax. Great food, cold beer, good whiskey, darts, billiards.
So now you love your job?
No, I still hate my job, but I loves me some Sharky's. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, everybody loves Sharky's. Sharky's Place, one of the best neighborhood bars in the world. 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
It's the summer of pink, and nobody's wearing it better than the gentlemen of Men Wear Pink. Campaign ambassadors and local leaders fundraising to support American Cancer Society's breast cancer initiatives. Check out their style with apparel from Crabtree retailers, including Alan Edmonds, Coach, Lululemon, Tickners, and local favorites at the Men Wear Pink VIP Soiree and Fashion Show this Saturday. The event is free, and donations from the silent auction benefit the American Cancer Society. Join the fun this Saturday from 2 to 4 at Crabtree's lower-level promotional court.
Drive into summer with the Honda CR-V and Accord, your fun-to-drive weekend getaway vehicles. From Honda, the 2024 Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value brand. So hurry in to the Honda Summer Event. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 2.9% APR on a 2025 CR-V or 2024 Accord.
Contact your local Carolina Honda dealer for a great deal today.
See dealer for financing details based on 2024 Consumer Choice Awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit kbb.com for more information.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. very, very used to this. Grilling. Better with Pepsi.
Swing by your local Family Fair where you can get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for just $4. Family Fair, first in thirst.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. All good things must come to an end, and that means our weather will as well. This weekend, we do warm up, and the humidity increases as well, and then we sizzle all next week. 58 the low tonight. Enjoy that. 86 for the high tomorrow.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 462 points today to 41,175. Market update brought to you by Fly Copa. Copa Airlines. Fly Copa Airlines from RDU to Latin America and get 2 vacations in one. Enjoy a stopover in Panama for up to 7 days with no extra airfare. Book your Panama stopover today at copa.com, COPA.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll get to the starting 5. And somewhere within the starting 5, we'll give you the next keyword for our fan football flyaway. You're going to have to stick around to find out, though. If you want that keyword, that could be worth a trip for 2 to Vegas for you sometime during the starting 5. Right now, we'll jump into the starting 5, starting with number 5. This is like it's the preseason in the NFL. I'm going to call it the preseason for us as well. Next week, we're going to have to lock in. We're going to have to really preview college football games for the teams we cover here in the Triangle.
Yeah.
There's State and UNC on Thursday. There's Duke on Friday. Full slate over the weekend. So we'll be in midseason form as far as previews, keys to the game, the news surrounding, who's playing, who's not, all of that. Well, I thought we'd get a little warm-up in because tomorrow there is football. There is ACC football, not the teams we cover, but let's give it a little bit of a dry run here. We'll use it as a preseason. Florida State, Georgia Tech. There's also Montana State, New Mexico, SMU, Nevada, and then Delaware State, Hawaii to round things out. But we're going to focus on Florida State, Georgia Tech. Here's how it looks for Florida State. Their offseason was one of the more tall tasks of an offseason. They were looking to replace Jordan Travis, their Heisman candidate quarterback that was drafted in the 5th round and would have been drafted earlier if he didn't blow out his knee at the end of the year. Defensive end Jared Verst, who went in the 1st round. Defensive tackle Brandon Fiske, who went in the 2nd round. Cornerback Renardo Green, who went in the 2nd round. Wide receiver Keon Coleman, who went in the 2nd round. Running back Trey Benson, who went in the 3rd. Cornerback Jarian Jones, who went in the 3rd. Wide receiver Johnny Wilson, who went in the 6th. Tight end Jaheim Bell, who went in the 7th. And that's not even everyone that was drafted for them. I just got tired and stopped writing. That's not easy. They had an undefeated team last year, didn't get much for it because they didn't get to go to the college football playoff, and then everybody bailed before the bowl game. So they had to replenish. They light up the portal, man. There are certain teams, and it's probably a money thing, they light up the portal. I'm not going to read everybody that committed to Florida State out of the portal because I'd just be sitting here reading names and you'd just be sitting here listening to names. But I will read exclusively the incoming transfers to Florida State that were at least a 4-star transfer, so 4-star or 5-star, that transferred to Florida State from Alabama. That's how specific I'm getting. Transfers from one school that were 4 or 5 stars in the transfer portal. Florida State brought in Sean Murphy, the linebacker, Roydell Williams, the running back, Earl Little, the second, the cornerback, TJ Ferguson, the inside offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman, and Malik Benson, the wide receiver. There are good programs, good teams out there that would consider 5 4-star or better transfers as a good transfer recruiting class. Florida State got that many just from Alabama, let alone the transfers they got from LSU and Georgia and even one from Harvard, which I thought was kind of funny. That's no joke. They're going to be very, very talented. For Georgia Tech, they do have kind of the one – I'd like David slingshot against a Goliath. I don't want to paint Florida State as a Goliath, but if Georgia Tech is going to upset the better teams in the ACC, I know how they're going to do it. The running game, the running game, the running game. Just keep you close enough that Haynes King can make some magic happen late. Haynes King, their quarterback, has a bit of that moxie, bit of that quarterback stuff. We've seen him pull off upsets in the past. Their running game, pretty darn good. They have an former offensive line coach as their head coach in Brent Key. Jamal Haynes is returning as a 1,000-yard rusher. Haynes King himself ran for 700 yards. They have another piece in Trey Cooley, who's a nice piece in the backfield. They will run the ball. And if they can keep it close doing that and shorten the game and give Haynes King a chance to make some magic at the end of the game, that's how they pull it off. And that's our preseason. That's my preseason, warming up, previewing a game. Hopefully that was, we'll watch the film. We'll get better, and we'll be back next week for the triangle games, ready to knock it out of the park. That's number 5. Let's jump to number 4.
We are the 4 horsemen. Woo!
Boo Corrigan, the athletic director for NC State.
Yes.
Spoke to the media today.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally said what I think a lot of us were expecting. Because there's all this talk about PNC Arena being upgraded and the entertainment district and the music venue and the shops and the restaurants and everything that's coming to PNC. And a relatively reasonable person could look around and go, where are they going to put it?
Yeah. Oh, there's a parking lot here. You're going to put stuff here? Well, that's where I park.
That's where I tailgate. And that's where I've tailgated for X amount of years. Mm-hmm. And that's where I've had some of my best memories.
Yeah.
And that's where...
And even ones you don't remember.
And I know that all of the other places this close to the stadium are accounted for. So if you take this away from me, where am I going to go that is going to be just as close or just as fun near the stadium? Boo Corrigan, the athletic director, speaking to the media today, did address that parking is going to change for tailgaters at Carter Finley Stadium. His words were, it's not changing tomorrow, but eventually they will change. And I don't know if he had a choice, right? Like the PNC Arena upgrades, I think are going to be cool for the area. Obviously going to be cool for Canes fans. There is very little, like, what's the saying? There is, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Hell hath no fury like a tailgater that is having their tailgating space removed. That will be furious. Actually, this one, Dennis, you'll appreciate this.
Okay.
I respect this from the Twitter user. So I tweeted out the news that parking is going to change. Unhinged Pack fan responded.
Okay.
It's like, you know what? Fair. Especially once you hear this text or this tweet. I'd rather the Canes move to Canada and Tom, their words, not mine, dum-dum. Again, they're unhinged. Tom Dum-Dum sell the team, then add a shopping center to our parking lot. Bulldoze PNC to make even more parking and let the men play in Reynolds, meaning the men's basketball team for state. And then they said, so yeah, Fury ignited.
That's a wow. Okay, that's
an unhinged
that
Pack
unhinged,
fan.
Unhinged.
They aptly described themselves. There's going to be really upset tailgaters. I think you just expect it, and you do what you can, and you move on. That's number 4. You got something?
I'll say the direct quote is, yeah, it will change. It's not going to change tomorrow. As it does change, we're going to be part of it. We're making sure that we're communicating with everyone to make sure that NC State will be involved.
That's number 4. Let's jump to number 3.
1, 2, 3.
I am a massive fan. I believe they are important of youth sports. I think the lessons learned from the high school level on down are important. They are useful. A lot of the things, that I consider good about the way I handle life were learned on a sports field somewhere in my youth. So I also get very temperamental when I see youth coaches, high school coaches, middle school coaches acting like fools. There was an event, some kickoff classic, featuring high school teams in Bank of America Stadium yesterday.
Second year in a row they've done that.
Which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And I saw Thomas Davis was there celebrating with guys as they scored. Bryce Young was there taking pictures with everybody that wanted to take pictures. Like playing a high school game in an NFL stadium is really cool. I saw Ike Ekwonu was wearing his high school's T-shirt at a press conference because his high school was going to play in Bank of America. So it was a cool event. Independence, one of the in-state high school teams, played Myers Park, one of the in-state high school teams.
I think it's where Drake May went, was Myers Park.
Yes, correct. The Independence high school coach. We have video via Carolina Blitz of halftime. The players are walking in at halftime. The Independence high school coach is waiting outside where other people can hear him, and he is yelling things that he obviously wants people to hear and record. For background, Independence was leading at halftime over Myers Park 24-0. So with Independence High School ahead 24-0 in an NFL stadium during a high school kickoff event, this is what the high school coach elected to say.
It's low-key easy. We would have loved a different matchup. I don't know why they're even in this game. 7-5.
Now, if you couldn't hear that because the PA and everything were in the background, he said it's low-key easy. We would have loved a different matchup. We don't even know why they're in this game 7-5. Stop that. First of all, stop that. Okay? I don't care if you were going to win the game by 100. Don't embarrass the other team, right? You know better. You're a coach. It's high school, right? The players on the other team don't make the schedule, right? They're there doing their best, and you're up 24-0. Be excited. Be happy. Let your kids know they did a good job out there, but make it about your team. Questioning the other team's record is ridiculous. But it does get juicier. The final score, remember, Independence was up 24-0 at half. Coach acts like a fool at halftime. What's the final score of that game? 24-21. Myers Park 21-0 in the second half, and had a pass into the end zone in the final moments that ended up being intercepted. But if it would have been caught or even incomplete, there's a good chance Myers Park wins that game. If it's caught, they go ahead, they take the lead, they probably win. If it's incomplete, they probably kick a field goal to tie. Now you're going into overtime. Instead, there was a tip ball. It was intercepted. Independence escaped by the whiskers on their chinny chin chin with a 24-21 win after being ahead 24-0 at half. Do you think maybe, possibly, if a coach was instead saying it's easy and the other team doesn't deserve to be on the field, he was saying, let's lock in and play a good second half, his team wouldn't have been the flattest team in the stadium for that second half.
We always talk about teams taking on the personality of their coach.
There it is.
There it is.
Most coaches, the good coaches that I've had, at halftime, it's 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
Stay locked in. Even if they're telling the second string, like, hey, if we keep this up, be ready. You're going to get some snaps in the fourth quarter. He was still looking at the starters saying 0-0, go out there, take care of business. I hate bad youth and high school coaches Because by the way, I've seen great athletes either not reach their potential or be turned away from the game. Like they just don't like it anymore. They don't love it anymore by bad coaches. Too many times. I've also seen guys probably could go either way, right? Maybe the talent isn't there all the way. They're good, but not great. They get a great coach. Suddenly they're playing at the college level, or suddenly they have some great memories from their high school career. Don't be a jerk. It's a good lesson. I mean, I don't pretend to have everything figured out, but don't be a jerk feels like something we could all figure out. By the way, high school football kicks off in earnest today. Obviously, some games yesterday, but this is kind of the first high school football Friday.
If you notice traffic picking up around between like 6 and 6:30 to 7 o'clock around area high schools, that's probably the reason why.
I love it. You can hear high school right down the street. You can hear the applause and the PA from my backyard. I love sitting out there like grilling or something and just hearing like, first down. It's great.
Honestly, I will say this as someone who's covered a lot of high school football games in years past for high school OT, that I love being part of like local community, and I think supporting local is a very big thing. Part of that I think is going to local sporting events, whether it's local colleges, local high schools. Go and enjoy those. If you have neighbors where their kids go to a school, like, all right, let's go watch my neighbor. Like my neighbor's kids play or something along those lines. Go enjoy those. Or if you have a friend or family member or someone that you know that has a kid in the band that performs at halftime or is a cheerleader, go and support. Be there.
I'm going to throw this one out there because this was – talk about when you fell in love with the game. If you have a fourth grader or on up, go to the high school football game. Mm-hmm. You can watch the game, the adults.
Have fun.
Kids will find somewhere. There's a field, maybe behind the bleachers, maybe out the long side of the end zone, and they'll play pickup. And I used to love it.
I did that all the time.
All the little brothers, all the little sisters of the high schoolers would just be out there running around playing games. And that's where the whole you start thinking of maybe I could play high school football one day. It's really fun. By the way, Football Friday with Chris Lee, 11:35 WRAL, the TV station we're talking here. Tonight you'll have the recaps, you'll have the rundowns, the scores, all of it.
All the highlights, everything. And they cover pretty much the entire eastern part and central part of the state, and sometimes even go out to Greensboro and stuff. They cover a ton.
We were talking with Joel Bryant earlier, who's associated with the show. He said 40 years 44 years of Football Friday. That's a cool legacy. They do it right. So check it out, WRAL TV tonight, a little after 11:30. It should be like I said, a full rundown. It's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
I didn't know
remix version.
I didn't know if you were going to need me to jump in there and take over on a Friday, give you the vibe. We've talked about Mack Brown. Mack Brown, the coach of UNC, spoke to the media today. We've talked about his desire to play 2 quarterbacks in both the opening game and throughout the season. Is that on YouTube?
It's already up.
Okay, perfect. That's on YouTube. If you want my thoughts, I don't like that decision. Go find it on YouTube because there's another quote that he gave us during the media today that I want to focus on right now. It's about Omarion Hampton, All-American running back for UNC, and the NIL money that the decision he had to make this offseason. We'll explain more after you hear it from Mack Brown himself. Here's Mack.
The other thing in modern-day football, our fans talk about loyalty. He got offered 4 times as much money to leave as he would make to stay here and never even considered it. So think about loyalty. I mean, how much does that happen modern day? So I'm so proud of him, and I'm pulling for him, and I want him to have the year that he deserves to have because he's done everything right since he's been here.
I don't like the question you have to ask in this situation. If Mack Brown is accurate and honest there, which we have no reason to believe he wouldn't be, and Omarion Hampton was offered 4 times what he's making at UNC somewhere else, I don't want to ask this question. Why the heck is he still at UNC? I'm assuming, and I think this is a fair assumption, based on what we know about the name, image, and likeness market, he's not making a small amount of money from UNC. 4 times. That could be life-changing money, right? Omarion Hampton is seen as an All-American in college. He's not seen as a first or second round pick as of right now in the NFL draft. And if he slides a little bit to, say, the 5th, those guys aren't guaranteed roster spots. They definitely aren't guaranteed the super-duper life-changing money that a all-pro would get. And when you're a running back, as soon as you get locked into like a 5th-round rookie contract, by the time your rookie contract is up, they're already telling you, there's no tread on the tires. We can't give you big money. You don't get the. I think on the conservative side, he's probably looking at $200,000 or $300,000 at UNC. You're talking 4 times that. You're looking at $800,000 to over $1 million he was offered to hit the transfer portal. Now, that's an assumption. We're doing a little bit of inferring here based on context clues. Is it bad? Like, where does loyalty end and just bad business begin? Because $800,000 sets you up for a long time if you manage it correctly. If you do want to, invest in some real estate. If you heck, just throw it into some kind of an account and let it grow, right? What does every money manager tell you, right? You start saving when you're 20 years old. Look at how much the compound interest will hit by the time you're at retirement age. Imagine if at 21 years old, you took $800,000 and just dumped it into an account and didn't touch it until you were 60. Now, I'm not saying that's how he'd handle it. He could spend his money however he wants to, but my point is it could be life-changing money. Now, the side part of it is, and I think this is probably why Mack Brown brought it up, Omarion Hampton didn't go in the transfer portal.
No, he didn't, which means there's some level of tampering involved.
So by even saying the word he got an offer, you're saying somebody tampered, somebody broke the rules, somebody had contact with him that he shouldn't. I hear you, and I know this has become a thing in the group of 5 big time. Coaches are just going like, they stole my player. I saw Alabama's kicker came from somewhere, and their coach was like, we didn't lose him. I know right where he is.
Miami of Ohio.
They stole him.
Yeah.
We didn't lose our kicker. I knew exactly where he was the whole time. They stole him. It's becoming a thing. Here's the big problems with that. I agree. Tampering should be done away with. I agree. I think it's the execution of it that becomes difficult, right? I think everybody would agree. Tampering, no. The problem is, friend of a friend, hey, they got $600,000 for you. Friend, did you hear that from the school? I do not recall. Or what about this? What if a collective that has no official relationship with the team contacts a player from another school, says, hey, we'll give you $1 million if you want to come to this school? The powers that be hear about it. Are they supposed to punish the school because of what? Like if it, like say, let me think of an example here. Somebody in the area, right? Just moved here, business owner, somebody from New York, because hey, comes down to the Triangle, right? Relocates with the fam. Just wants to have good football in the area. Wants to go to a game on Saturday with really, really good players. And they've got hundreds of millions of dollars. So they call up, let me think, Jaden Ott from Cal. Not in the transfer portal. And they just say, $1 million for you to go to NC State. NC State has no knowledge of this. Or how about this? Maybe even better. NC State's going to say they have no knowledge of this, right? Which I'm sure happens not with NC State, but across the college world. Are you supposed to punish NC State for that? It's sticky and it's a lot of red tape and it's really difficult to prove that it's happening. I wish we could get like Omarion Hampton and Mack Brown on a lie detector and say, these offers, how were they presented to you? Who talked to you? What did they say? How much was it for actually? What was the structure of it? Did it come from an uncle? Did it come from a high school coach? Did they have to go through a middleman? How much was it for? That's really what we all want to know. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's time for our 5 o'clock keyword in our Fan Football Flyaway. Sponsored by the fabulous Mandalay Bay Hotel, Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb & Company. This is the last keyword of the week. It'll start back up Monday at noon, but if you want to get an entry before 6 o'clock, you have to text in this word. Luck. L-U-C-K. Luck. Which fits for multiple reasons, right? You're going to be there to watch a football game between Carolina and the Silver and Black, but you're also going to be in Vegas, where, luck be a lady tonight, where you need some luck and maybe a game, or a bunch of other reasons. But the key word is luck, L-U-C-K. Text that into 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a trip for 2 to Vegas. You get the flights, you get the room, you get the game, you get the food money, and it's all on us. 919-860-5326. Text in this hour's keyword, luck, L-U-C-K, by 6 o'clock. You have 37 minutes to do it. By 6 o'clock. It'll expire. That keyword will not work after 6. And then listen in for another keyword coming up in the noon hour on Monday, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Let's finish up the starting 5 with number 1. The 1! Panthers starters play tomorrow. Here's what I want from the Panthers starters. Simple plays, executed quickly, and a very, very smooth operation. Okay? In and out of the huddle, lining up right, no pre-snap penalties. That's what you're looking for. Canales to Bryce Young, communication on point. You don't have to go out there and run in double reverses. You can go out there and keep it day one play install. It's just about making sure everybody knows what they're doing. So when you get to your actual first regular season game, when you get to your actual first live action, you will not have to worry about all the little things on the perimeter, right? Because it happens anytime someone has like the big presentation at work, right? You do a couple run-throughs, and what do you learn? Oh, you know what? I have to bring a dry erase marker. They might not have them there, right? You start ironing out the details so the details don't become massive problems on the big presentation day. A little dress rehearsal. That's all it is. Get out there, get the first game jitters out of the way. If you do that, it'll be a success. If you would have played your starters in maybe preseason game 1 or game 2, I would have had more assignments for you because there would have been more time that you can fix things and try things. But since the only time you're playing your starters is game 3, which I don't love, but beggars can't be choosers. I'll take something. Just get out there, make it smooth, get out, nothing crazy, hopefully no injuries. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now it's time to get some numbers game contestants.
Yeah, we do.
We need our first 5 for 5 since the last live numbers game, right? We need to start replenishing the contestants. Call 919-860-5326 to play the numbers game, and you'll be competing for a $25 gift card to Sharky's Place. Sharky's with back-to-back-to-back-to-back wins for best wings in the Triangle. Voted best sports bar, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world. Sharky's. Again, the number to call in, 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants. Numbers game next.
Atlantic Spas and Billiards, Buffalo Brothers, and Newcomb & Company want you to see football live in Las Vegas. It's our Fan Football Flyaway. Listen weekdays through August 29th. We'll reveal keywords every hour from noon to 6. Text in the keywords to enter for chances to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. We'll fly you to an amazing room at the Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino, and we'll hook you up with seats for the Carolina-Las Vegas game. The Fan Football Flyaway, only on 99.9 The Fan.
Viva Las Vegas.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Wait, she's posting pics with a dude in Mexico. We just broke up.
If Heineken Silver was a doom-scrolling ex-boyfriend, it would have all the feels. None of the new boyfriend jealousy.
She looks happy. I'm gonna message her. Hey, Stace, loved the super cute post with @RideRyan7. Enjoy Mexico and that ceviche spot from last year. Send pics.
Heineken Silver, world-class light beer. Only 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
Is foot pain keeping you from living the life you love? Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton with the Good Feet Store, and life is too short to be living with foot, knee, or back pain. When all 4 arches in your feet are supported, the results can be amazing. Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
The new Boost Mobile network is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for life.
That sounds like a threat.
Then how do you think we should say it?
Unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for the rest of your life?
I don't know.
Until your ultimate demise.
What if we just say forever?
Okay.
$25 a month forever.
Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile forever.
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Time to play the numbers game. The contestants for today, John and Mebane, Lewis and Clayton. They'll be battling it out in the numbers game for a $25 gift card to Sharky's Place. As always, we have to ask a question, pick our favorite answer, see who goes first. We'll start with John and Mebane. John, on a Friday, what are you most looking forward to about the upcoming weekend? With the caveat being, since this is a sports show, it has to be related to sports.
Probably golf.
Playing, watching, give us some deets.
Probably just the PGA Tour final round.
All right, there you go. That's a very solid answer. We'll go to Lewis and Clayton. Very solid answer for me, but Dennis, you get to be the judge. Now, golf isn't exactly playing to the judge with Dennis. Lewis and Clayton, same question to you. What is your biggest thing that you're looking forward to about this weekend, but keep it sports related?
I guess I would say watching the Yankees because I'm off this weekend. I'm an implant from New York, so I'm a big Yankee fan.
All right.
That's about it.
There's a good chance that Aaron Jones is the running back. Aaron Judge. There you go.
Judge.
There's a good chance that Aaron Judge is going to hit like 900 home runs because it seems like that's what he's doing every time he goes out there. Dennis, who's the winner?
I'm probably going to actually get to go with John and Mebane on this one because it's the FedEx playoffs and the PGA, so it's postseason.
Yep.
So all right, I'll go golf postseason here.
All right, John gets to go first, but Lewis, don't worry, you'll have your chance to play. You'll just be going second, so sit on the line. John, are you there?
Yes.
All right, you got to pick your category. These are the first one is NFL, not Steve. So these are all players whose first name starts with S, but there's no Steves. NFL names we never got to read during other categories, so it's kind of the leftovers that the the listeners didn't get to. NBA current players only or NHL Canes and Whalers only?
I'll take the first NFL.
All right, NFL, not Steve's. The way this works, I'll give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can because there's only 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Shannon Sharp, Denver Broncos.
84.
Correct. Sam Mills, Carolina Panthers.
51.
Correct. Santana Moss, Washington Redskins.
83.
Incorrect. Shane Vereen, New York Giants.
33.
Incorrect. Santana Moss, Washington Redskins.
87.
Incorrect. Shane Vereen, New York Giants. You know what? I think your knowledge was good enough to get a better score than you actually got there. You knew Santana Moss was in the 80s. Just keep firing. You were doing a lot of thinking. You went 87. Like, just keep firing away.
89.
It's 89. That's exactly what it is. And for those of you playing at home, Shane Vereen with the Giants, you said 33. It was actually 34. So, again, if you just kept firing, you might have stumbled into that one.
Yeah.
But you got Sharp. You got Mills with 84 for Sharp. We would have also accepted 81. And Sam Mills, number 51. You got that one. So, John, go ahead and sit on the line. We'll see if it holds up, but your number is 2. That brings us to Lewis and Clayton. Lewis, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. The categories remaining for you are NFL, names we haven't read in other categories, so these are kind of a hodgepodge of leftovers. NBA current players only or NHL Canes and Whalers only?
NBA current players.
All right. Same rules apply. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. What was that?
Well, that's saying anything.
Oh, all right. You have one pass if you need it, and you need 3 for the win. You're good to. Right. If you're good to roll, we'll roll. Your time will start when you hear the horn.
Let's go.
Damian Lillard, Milwaukee Bucks.
1.
Incorrect. Colin Sexton, Utah Jazz.
Pass.
Keegan Murray, Sacramento Kings.
13.
Correct. Fred VanVleet, Houston Rockets.
3.
Incorrect. Damian Lillard, Milwaukee Bucks.
3.
Incorrect. Colin Sexton, Utah Jazz.
No.
The hard Dame Lillard is one that he's a single zero. I don't know if we've ever gotten somebody. I don't know if we've ever gotten somebody that's gotten the single zeros right. It's just I don't think it pops into our brains. So Lillard was 0. Sexton was 2. Fred VanVleet, you were close. He's number 5. You did get Keegan Murray, which was a good pull with 13. But unfortunately, 1, not enough for the win. Hopefully, you had a good time playing though.
I did.
All right. Perfect. See you next time, hopefully. That brings us to John and Mebane. John, you are the winner. Congratulations.
Thank you. Awesome.
That is a $25 gift card to Sharky's. So congrats. Solid way to start your Friday or Friday evening.
Cool. Nice. Never been to Sharky, so I'm looking forward to that.
Check it out.
Oh, you're going to love it.
You have to stay on the line so Dennis can get some of your information, but he'll give you some recommendations for Sharky's as well, I'm sure. So sit on the line.
Cheers.
There you go. Once again, that's a $25 gift card to Sharky's Place. Sharky's with back-to-back wins for best wings in the Triangle. Voted best sports bar, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world. Sharky's. Real quickly, I want to go back to something now that we have a little bit of time. When it comes to what Mack Brown said earlier, we were talking about it. Mack Brown, the head coach of UNC, said Omarion Hampton, his All-American running back, was offered 4 times the money that he is receiving to stay at UNC to leave. I asked the question of, at what point does it become just not loyalty, which is what Mack Brown was saying, right? This is a player that is loyal. This is a player that does everything right. That's why he's coming back. At what point, like this is, and it's not even really about Omarion Hampton. The question I'm asking, it's more philosophical. Put yourself in these athletes' shoes. At what point does it become a bad decision not to take the money? Because we can sit here and say it's for the love of the game. You don't need the money, but at the same time, like money makes the world go round in a lot of ways, right? At what point do you look at it and you say, I could set myself up for a long time. I have to take this money, right? You see it in the pros, right? Sometimes there's a player, he's a free agent, and maybe the team that he's on, while they love the player, they're up against the salary cap, they have an owner that won't spend, whatever it is, and somebody else offers them life-changing money, and they take the cash, and it's like a handshake and a hug and a good luck. I wish the best for you. Is there an amount of money another team could offer where it becomes that? Where it's like you can't turn that down. It's no different than I'm trying to think of the right example here. Like John Calipari has had that conversation with some of his players on the basketball court, where they're going like, "Man, I loved Kentucky so much, I want to come back." And it's like, oh, no, right? Calipari's had to say, no, you're going to make generational wealth. You're going to be drafted in the top whatever. Go. You've done what you came to do here. Now, I'm not saying it's apples to apples exactly, but if you're a player and you're making $100,000 at your school and somebody offers you $800,000 to go to another school, is it disloyal to take the $800,000? I think that's an unfair way to frame it. You're asking somebody to pass on life-changing money, right? $700,000 being the difference, or $100,000 being the difference, or $200,000 being the difference, or even in the millions being the difference. I don't want to say you're a bad person for potentially changing your life for the better, or potentially taking worries off your plate. The money is big now. It's becoming big business. And whether we like it or not, players have to make decisions that are best for themselves, especially if you're a running back. You tweak a knee, you bend a knee in the wrong direction, week 2 of this year, that NFL money dries up quick, or at least that rookie contract money dries up quick. Right? One little you stepped funny, somebody lands on your ankle, and suddenly you go from maybe a 3rd-round pick to a 7th-round pick. And that's millions of dollars different. Now that money has been introduced to the game of college football and college sports in general, I think it's important to also remember, like, it's our escape from life. I watch college football, I watch NFL football to relax and unwind. But they're humans. They also have a life, and they also want to set themselves up for it. It's, they're not characters in a TV show. They're actual people out there on your television screen. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll move on from that, but I think it's not going anywhere in college football, so we'll have opportunities to talk about it in the future. When we come back, we have to make our picks for the weekend. Dennis will line them up. We'll make our picks. We'll move on. Stick around.
College football is back. Join 99.9 The Fan for an all-day Saturday triple header. Florida State and Georgia Tech at noon.
Lubnick back to throw. Throws it, and it's too tall. That is the ball game. Florida State comes in and wins the game. Oh, my.
Montana State and New Mexico at 4. And SMU and Nevada at 8. College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1932 $10 gold Indian coins have been found. These gorgeous 1932 gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling the secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1932 dated gold coin featuring Lady Liberty with an Indian war headdress and a majestic eagle. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1932 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 92 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-495-6468. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus over a $55 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-495-6468 now to secure your 1932 $10 gold Indian coins before they sell out. Don't wait. You must act fast. Call now.
We're with Kevin of Fairway Green. Everybody wants that curb appeal, doesn't
aren't they?
Yeah, during certain times of the year, people are really amazed on how fast we can turn that lawn around, clean up those weeds, get that color back, especially if they're going to try to sell the home or present the home for a wedding or whatever event they may have going on.
And Fairway Green makes it easy.
Yes, if you contact us, we'll be out, leave a very detailed lawn analysis, and give you a good plan of action.
Nobody beats a Fairway Green lawn. Get started now. Go to fairwaygreen.com or call 919-329-0095.
Capital Broadcasting Company and NC Beautiful award thousands of azaleas to nonprofit organizations throughout the state. If your organization would like free azaleas, visit us online at wral-gardens.com. Go to the Azalea Celebration tab and fill out an application form by August 31st. Let's keep our state looking clean and beautiful.
Navy Federal Credit Union is back with more eligibility. Now you can hear all your favorites like, my brother's a veteran, I get amazing rates. My mom served, I get 24/7 member support. Grandpa was a soldier and now I'm a member. And who could forget, thanks to my father who served in the military, I'm now eligible for incredible member benefits. Call 1-855-800-2102 or visit NavyFederal.org today. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
How was everyone's first day at the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club?
Oh, me? I set the high score in mini golf.
I tried a new food called wasabi.
Oh, I did absolutely nothing. It was amazing.
There's no wrong way to be a winner. New $50,000 payout and $1 million cash word are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.54 to 3.58. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Get an amazing deal at Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford, where we're stacking the savings. Save up to 12% off MSRP on select 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 SLTs, including a Wilkinson discount, GMC bonus cash and purchase allowance, and trade assistance on eligible vehicles 2010 or newer. GMC, we are professional grade. At Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford, one of the only dealerships with Chevy, Cadillac, Buick, and GMC under one roof. Visit us today or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Down to our final 15 minutes of the week to get an entry into our Fan Football Flyaway. If you want to win a trip to Las Vegas, where you see the Carolina football game out there, Carolina taking on the Silver and Black, you get to take in all of what Vegas has to offer, flights, rooms. We take care of all of that. We got it covered. You just have to, once an hour from noon to 6, weekdays here on 99.9 The Fan, text in a keyword. This hour's keyword, luck, L-U-C-K. Text it in by 6 o'clock to gain this hour's entry, and you won't have another chance to get another entry until noon on Monday during the Adam Gold Show. So text in luck to 919-860-5326, and you're good to go. Do that by 6 o'clock.
Good luck to all of you.
Okay, I see what you did there. With that being said, it's time to make our picks. Dennis, what games are we picking this week?
All right, here's something I was thinking about, just to kind of switch things up here a little bit, because there's not
I like
a whole
switch up.
lot
I like
of,
a change up on a Friday.
Not a whole lot of games of consequence.
We could pick 4
this
college
weekend.
games.
Well, actually, we will start there, but I do want to dive into some NFL games. So I'll give you a little caveat on those coming up. But let's start right with it. Noon tomorrow, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Florida State, Georgia Tech. Give it to me.
Florida State wins. This is a game that I think Florida State, if they can get out to a lead in the first quarter, first half, I think they can win it by a decent amount. However, the longer it's close, the more of a chance I give Georgia Tech to pull off the upset. So, if it gets into the third quarter and it's still a one-score game, I start to get nervous if I'm a Florida State fan. If not, I think Florida State's they're the more talented team. And but there's always the however, if DJU is turning the ball over, all bets are off. DJ Uyunglele. back in the ACC.
Are we at a point where it's like almost like a must-win game for Florida State? Because if Florida State loses to Georgia Tech, everyone's just going to get the shovels out and bury the ACC before the season really actually gets started.
Well, what it does is it translates, right? Florida State has the ACC's hopes and dreams on their shoulders right now, right? They're the betting favorite to win everything. They're expected to be in the college football playoff, on and on and on and on. If Georgia Tech upsets them, it puts all that pressure on Georgia Tech. It's like, Georgia Tech, you better not be fake. This better not be a fluke.
Better go 11-1. Beat Georgia at the end of the season.
Exactly. If Georgia Tech beats Florida State and then Georgia Tech wins 9 or 10 games at least, then it's like, oh, okay, no. Florida State can still be legit. They can still go, and Georgia Tech just is also legit. The problem would be if Georgia Tech pulls off the upset and then they win 6 games. Then you get the ACC naysayers out there really piling on. So if Florida State wins, that's the most obvious good for the ACC. If not, then we need other things to happen.
This one should be pretty straightforward. SMU at Nevada.
SMU wins by a bunch. They're favored by a bunch.
27-point favorites.
I am excited to see how Preston Stone, their quarterback, plays. He's got some hype coming into the ACC. But it's just, this is one that they should win by 3 touchdowns or more, and anything less is probably like something they'll get yelled at practice for.
All right, I think we know who's going to win this one between Hawaii and Delaware State. Did Delaware State actually make it out to Hawaii?
I believe so.
Did we talk about this story earlier this week?
We have not.
Please share it.
Delaware State missed their flight to Hawaii. They were flying out of JFK on a 10.5-hour direct flight from JFK Airport to Honolulu. And apparently they called it a bus snafu. They missed their flight.
Whoops.
All-time weird move. First of all, the flight took off with there had to be 100, 110 people not there when you think of a full, whatever it is, 56, 60-man travel roster, 20 at least coaches, 10 trainers and student trainers, probably some form of administration. Like, you're looking at 100
sports information director.
You're looking at 100+ people didn't show up, I guess, to a commercial flight that just took off.
Whoops.
I don't know how they got there. They might have had to charter a plane. All the money Hawaii, I'm sure, was paying them to get beat now has to go to fixing up their travel. But you know who the real winners of the situation are?
Who's that?
Everybody else that was on the plane that they were supposed to be on and thought they were going to have like one airplane seat of room for a 10.5-hour flight to Honolulu, suddenly we're probably like, you take those 4 rows, I'll take these 4 rows, we'll lay down, get a good sleep. But yes, Hawaii is favored to win by, I think, 36. And if you make Delaware State tired due to travel, make it 40.
So actually, looking up here on the latest update here from USA Today, they did make it out there. They're expected to arrive in Honolulu, easy for me to say, Wednesday afternoon.
So there's jet lag, there's a whole thing.
Their trip Wednesday required 3 separate flights to get everyone there.
Jet lag is serious. When I lived in Hawaii, we had a whole plan for jet lag. You know, which flights were best. Once you're here, if you stay up till this time, you'll sleep till this time. You'll be, within 2 days, we can get you on track pretty much. But and by the way, some teams that would go out and play Hawaii would request from the hotel blackout curtains, and they wouldn't adjust. They would just go to sleep at, like, if they were coming from the East Coast, they would just go to sleep at what was 10 o'clock p.m. East Coast time and wake up at what would have been like 7 o'clock East Coast time, even though it wasn't lining up with what was going on in Hawaii. And they would just try to, like, never adjust. Every coach had their own way to do it. But Delaware State is definitely going to be all kinds of messed up.
That's going to be a it was a bus snafu looking over those things. Let's actually go to the NFL weekend. Now, here's what I actually want to do, Tim, regarding this, because we all know a lot of starters, for the most part, aren't going to be playing or are not going to be playing an extended amount of time this weekend. So I want you to give me the prediction, if this were a regular season game, who would win.
Okay. I like that. So it's a bit of a hypothetical.
Today, we have Jaguars at Falcons. Jags at Falcons. If this were a regular season game, all things considered, who would you take?
Right now, Jacksonville. I think there's more continuity. Ask me again in a month. That might be different if the Falcons are meshing well and if Kirk's playing well. But Jacksonville right now. By the way, Brian Thomas Jr., the LSU wide receiver that was drafted by Jacksonville, apparently has been popping at camp, which means Calvin Ridley's gone, but they still have Christian Kirk, and then add Brian Thomas in there, Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram, Trevor Lawrence, now paid and very, very rich. I like Jacksonville early in the season in that one.
All right, couple former playoff teams from last year. Dolphins at Bucks. Battle of the Sunshine State.
Dolphins.
Okay.
I really like their offense. Also, if you look at what the Dolphins have done the past 2, 3, 4 years, really since Mike McDaniel got there, they win early in the season and they collapse late. Where's that game being played?
It is at Tampa.
They're both Florida teams, so that's not as bad.
Mm-hmm.
But they run you ragged with just deep balls, lots of horizontal motions, and it's like 100 degrees outside in Florida at this time in the year. Once the weather comes back down to earth a little bit, they tend to fall apart. So give me the Dolphins early in the season.
Next one, Panthers-Bills. If this were a regular season game, who'd you take?
You're gonna make me end my week.
No, there's still more games. I just figured go ahead and get it out of the way.
Bills.
Bills.
Bills
Yep,
will
that's just
Bills.
no explanation needed. Buffalo.
Fill in your own reasoning.
Yep, there's that. How about this one? Steelers-Lions.
Lions.
At Detroit.
Lions are good this year.
They are really good. They're really good last year.
Lions. That feels how ridiculous. Go back 6 years.
It hates for me to say this, but
go back 6 years and say Lions Steelers, who's going to win, and you're going to get chuckles. I think the chuckles are the other direction now. I think it's that obvious.
Hey.
Is Russ or Justin Fields starting?
Yes.
Is Najee Harris going to take the ball 30 times for 34 yards? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah. They're going to go
Jahmyr
full UNC
Gibbs,
football.
Laporta, Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Penei Sewell, Decker. That offense is talented and pretty darn good.
This will be
Dan
a fun
Campbell
game.
will bite hunks out of your kneecaps. Don't forget about that.
Hey, don't mess with Mike Tomlin now.
All right, that's a good cage match.
It would be. We have about just under 90 seconds left here. But this would actually be a fun one. We'll end on this one. Ravens at Packers. If this were a regular season game right now, who would you take? Ravens at Packers. This would be a fun matchup.
That would be. Very different.
Mm-hmm.
Ravens, but it's interesting. It's different. Ravens seem to be a bunch, like there's some older guys, win now, need to make it happen. Green Bay is all arrows up. All young guys looking to get better. Right now, Ravens, though. I'm still very high on Lamar Jackson. Next week we're gonna have to make all our MVP picks and everything.
Oh yeah.
Lamar, he's gonna be in the running. I'll put it that way. Not to tip anything off. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, coming to a close here on a Friday. Few things. Follow us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. When you're there, especially state fans, you see the Pack Therapy podcast, the most recent episode. Comment a question. We'll answer it on the next episode. Check out the Panthers playbook for a full 53-man roster breakdown.
We'll have another one after tomorrow's preseason game.
I'll have another one after tomorrow's preseason game, so check that out too. And stick around for Overdrive. We're going to talk a little UNC quarterback news. It's coming up next. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Carolina Ford Dealers. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks at every Panthers game. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
To make me feel better. All I wanna know is, can I get her? Juicy double patty, the McNuggets so crisp, and the fries go to yellow. Yeah, McDonald's don't miss. Yeah, order apple, the drive-through quick. $5, that's a deal. Yeah, I got McDonald's money. got McDonald's money.